Let me just adjust my computer volume real quick. Which is the one that's the correct audio output? Is it this? Why are my headphones not showing up? Okay, we'll just make a new audio device, I guess. Thanks, Streamlabs. Media category. Audio capture. Make a new one. Headphones. Done. Let's test the volume real quick. Let me know if this goes.
Area for our first match of Pro Tour.
Oh, I just already had it. Okay. I guess I didn't need to do that.
Singapore, folks. Sparks will fly.
Okay, we got audio. Looks like both of my audios are working. Welcome, chat. Today we are going to be covering the rest of the Gravy Bones games from Swiss, which apparently you guys can't see my window, which I had up a minute ago. Hello. Where'd that go? There we go. We're going to be watching the rest of the Gravy Bones games from Swiss, try to educate ourselves on this. Before jumping into that, I did a little bit of work on the Gravy document, talked to some of my teammates on this to see if they had any thoughts on it. No one really had anything to add. They liked what I had on this. I've been working on the heuristics for Compass a little bit today. So basically, I'm gonna like blow this up into a bigger thing eventually, but this is just like a shorthand to kind of as a working thing for while playing games. So for Compass, basically, I went, okay, what are the kind of decision points during a game that would make me question whether or not I should Compass here or not? Anything that cares about the top of my deck, basically. So anything that's going to change the top of my deck, anything that cares about what's on top of my deck, or any a gold that I have in play. So like maybe I want to draw the card on top of my deck to either open up my hand or be an arsenal for the turn. So first, we see whether or not we have one of those cards in our hand. Do we have a card in our hand that cares about the top of our deck in any way, shape, or form and affects that? Then I go, okay, am I blocking? Am I being attacked right now and I have an opportunity to block? Then I want to think whether or not knowing the top card of my deck here could be helpful to my blocks. So this, I think more often than not, is the answer is no. But there's been some cases where I've flooded on resources because of not blocking when I could block here. So let's say, for example, I have a tipple in my hand and I could block. Maybe I have a random blue 3-block in my hand, like an Avasti or something. And this is the card that I'm either going to pitch or play this turn to play an ally, or to pitch to play an ally, or to pitch to play the tipple. But then I draw a card off of the tipple, and I get another blue. But I already had a card I really wanted to put in an arsenal. So I didn't like plan my turn around that. So maybe I should have blocked with one of these cards, because maybe I draw like second Avasti, and I should have just blocked with the first Avasti. Or maybe I need to know if I have an ally on top to shape my turn a little bit differently. It's just like consider whether or not you're going to end up flooding on resources or IP a card, depending on what you could draw there. But I think in most cases the answer is no, and you just move on with life and block in a way that makes sense. Hey, Josh. Now, if I don't want to block, or this doesn't affect how I am playing the turn, the way I want to Compass here is I just do all my things. I play my tipples, I Gravy Bones, I do all the things that I plan on doing because I don't care what's on top of my deck. I basically sat down and I said, I am always doing this no matter what is on top of my deck. It is completely irrelevant what is on top of my deck. I'm always doing this. Therefore, I'm not going to Compass at any point, and I'm going to Compass at the end of the round to see if that card I'm on top of my deck changes anything, and maybe I want to crack a gold to draw that card. The next is I always want to use Eye of Ophidia before Compass if I have an Eye of Ophidia in my hand. I resolve what I'm doing, then Compass, and get new information. This gives me 3 looks instead of 2. Because frequently, if you Compass first, you're going to Compass and be like, well, this doesn't change anything. I'm still just going to do the Eye. And then I'm going to opt anyway, so it just didn't change anything. I kind of already mentioned this, but if I have a card, I've talked about this in another stream also. If I have a card that cares about the top of my deck, so we're talking like Saltwater Swell, Chart the High Seas, Rabble, the idea, assuming I'm always playing that card, I'm going to Compass first and find out if I'm going to hit. And then if I'm not going to hit, I'm going to use an effect that changes the top of my deck. And then, again, if the plan is always to play this card, then I will play that card. Because most gravy lists are playing above 30 blues. So you basically have a 50-50 of the top being blue. You find out that you missed. So then you change the top of your deck, and now you have another 50-50. So it's a very high likelihood that between those 2 cards, you're going to hit. And then I think I already said this earlier, but if no, this is slightly different than what I said earlier. What I said earlier was if I want to crack gold to like draw that card and put it in arsenal or change my turn, but there's another use for it too. This is probably like a beginning of turn type of thing or during blocks type of thing. If your hand's kind of awkward and there's a specific card or a specific type of card that it unlocks the hand. So for example, I have like a tipple but no ally in hand, or maybe I don't have a blue in my hand right now, something like that, where I'm like, I'm just like kind of missing something for this hand to be functioning. You should look there to see if you should draw that card off of gold or the hero power, I suppose, to unlock the hand. And I think most of the time it's going to be look and then decide, okay, I am going to hit, so I should just draw that card, play my turn, or I'm not going to hit, so I should just block here. Now, there's another heuristic somewhere in here, but I don't know how to articulate this yet, so I'm going to add this in later. But there's definitely a heuristic with like Conqueror of the High Seas, with looking at the top of your deck. There's definitely something there. I can't put the pen to paper on that one yet and say it in a way that makes sense. So we'll update that in the future when I figure out how to word that. Like I know there's the obvious, look at top, sea of blue, pitch to gold, play thing. But that's less of a heuristic and more of just an obvious play. You know what I mean? Like that's just a common sense play that you should make. I'm speaking to something deeper than that, where you're uncertain on whether or not you're uncertain on how you could structure the turn. Like there's a number of spots where you're like, yeah, I got the blues to play this conch, but I'm gonna play this conch and just kind of do nothing afterwards. So like, what am I supposed to do with the extra 2 resources? Am I supposed to draw off gold? Should I just not do that and play my graveyard guys, like cast a blue and then pitch a blue to play the guys in the bin and just arsenal the conch for later? So again, there's definitely a heuristic there in how you should use the conch here, and I just don't know how to articulate that. I don't have common sense either. That's why we make heuristics. Once you have enough, listen, if you just build enough heuristics, you never have to think again. When I was playing Prism back in the day, that's all I did. I just played on like pure heuristics, and I just autopiloted from that. Kind of the same thing with Dromai eventually too. It was just like this massive heuristic tree branching into different things. And then basically, whenever I'd be put into a situation that I'm unfamiliar with, that's when I would stop to think and go, okay, how should I evaluate the situation, because I've never been here before. But the rest of the time, it's just I've seen this exact situation a million times. I know what I'm supposed to do. Okay, anywho, without further ado, no more stalling. Let's jump into some gravy games. We're gonna, if it's your first time watching these, basically we're gonna really critically evaluate these gravy games, not to like poke holes in what people are doing so much, but to learn and try to figure out specific play patterns, decisions that the gravy players are making. Like, why are they doing certain things, and try to reverse engineer it. PT Yokohama meta is to win your top 4 game, then tell the judge that you're conceding the. True, bro. You know, something's wrong when the Judge Hub Discord has conversations going around of trying to figure out who is allowed to concede or lose a game in the finals. I saw something earlier where it was like, if both players want to forfeit or lose, then they play a game and the winner gets to lose. You know, a system isn't working as intended when players are fighting over second place. Something's wrong. But I don't want to make this stream about that. Let's not get super negative and everything. If you want that, you can just look at my Twitter, I guess. Heck W. Anyways, we're gonna be breaking down these gravy games, try to figure out the mind of a gravy player, so to speak. Figure out why they're making certain game actions, identify specific play patterns, and really hyper analyze everything that they're doing throughout the game so we can learn from them. The purpose of this is to work on the gravy guide, my gravy thoughts thing, and also show you guys how to learn, essentially. Like, the purpose of this is so you guys can understand how I go about learning decks. Because not just spam games on Talishar. If that's all you're doing to learn a deck, you're doing it wrong.
One way or another, it's going to be Timothy.
Please let me know if the audio is fine also.
Syndra, Drakaya of Retribution, and Pablo Pinto.
There might be some fast forwarding and a lot of pausing.
Syndra versus.
Okay. I believe Pablo is on the same list as Hamilton. Yeah, that dev talk needs to come sooner rather than later. But again, I don't want to focus on that. So I believe Pablo is on the same list. Let's pull up his list. So Pablo also not on a royal hat. He's on AB2 though. He's got 1 Blanche. I don't think Hamilton was on 1 Blanche. Also no Ankas. 3 prismatic ley lines instead of 2. Only 1. Oh no, I was mixing up my cards. I was thinking this was Swell. We got also the 1 blue sloop. We got the snag. That doesn't matter here. Got a compliance. I don't think Hamilton was on a compliance. Also the 1 of Ast Yi. Everything else looks pretty reasonable. So key cards in this matchup. Probably the Loot the Holds. Those are pretty good in this matchup. Maybe the Blood in the Waters. I'm curious to see if he's actually playing these. I'm going back and forth on whether or not I actually like Blood in the Water into Syndra, because conceptually how I'm approaching that matchup is I am winning by being proactive and not really fighting over Mask that much. I'm just fighting over the Mask when I know I will win that fight, and there's no funny business that can happen. If I'm just going to get tricked into blocking it and they're going to get the Mask trigger anyways, I have no interest fighting over it. I'd rather just keep my cards and play my turn. And then I'm just going to try to outvalue them with my allies, with my conks, with my swells, and just push their life total down. Try to disrupt them with the conks and the Loot the Holds. But generally, it's just try to outvalue them. Try to have some turns where you go super above rate. It's pretty easy to have a turn in Gravy Bones, or a couple turns where you present like 17 to 20 damage and also get an arsenal and disrupt them. So you just need that to happen a few times to just like invalidate their game plan. It doesn't matter that they're drawing a card hitting your allies when you go that crazy.
Is gravy. Have the gravies
got the quick dodge,
figured out
we've got the
how
brace,
to
the
beat Syndra?
balance.
If so, this could be a dominant performance, and this team that Pablo Pinto
I think Hamilton was
has
also
some
playing
of the
1 Fiddlers.
greatest players
Fiddlers
in
is actually
all
pretty
of
cute
Flesh
in this
and Blood,
matchup.
and virtually every single one arrived on the same almost Flesh and Blood.
What was that? Tipple, swell. Is that a second tipple? I can't tell what the second card in
And
is.
virtually every single one arrived on the same almost 80 cards. I believe they said they were like 79 of 80 shared. When that happens, you have to believe they have done something special as far as managing this Syndra matchup.
I
And
feel
of
like you're
course,
supposed to
for
hook
the
this.
gravy is about getting that game extended, going longer. What can you do to give yourself a little bit of breathing room? I'm going to start with a golden tipple here. Notably, a yellow
think it
golden
matters,
tipple
though.
put into the graveyard. So Pablo has not yet been
Yeah,
able to get an
Fiddlers goes
ally
back
into
into
the
that.
pin in
How
order
am I trying to
drag them
win?
out
I'm trying to
later.
win
That's a good
by
sign for the Syndra
outvaluing
player.
them.
If you get a little bit of breathing space, you can turn that into a life lead very quickly. Gravy often has hands that don't defend.
My problem
all
is I
that
feel like
well,
my
but there
hero
are
power is a
some
little
tricks
overtaxed
that
in the
Pablo
matchup.
may have up his sleeve to deal with the aggression of Syndra as we move through this matchup.
Saltwater Swell, the follow-up here. It comes in for 3 and allows Pablo eventually to pitch the top card of his deck if it's blue. A Call to Grave came straight off the top, and now we're going to dig a little bit deeper. Compass of Sunken Depths allows Pablo just to see what is the next card on top. This might be about all we have. No. Okay, Gravy will instead make use of that gold token, allowing him to draw and to discard. Again, there it is. Finally, Pablo is able to find an ally on top of the deck, get him into the bin, and get him back out onto the field. It's going to be Chum, friendly first mate, to start things off.
Fantastic find there for Pablo Pintor on the top of the deck. It was starting to look like maybe this turn would have no setup, but Pablo has found it here, and gold already made means this gold-baited hook is going to go ahead and power up this Chum attack as well, asking for even more cards from Timothy Teo.
Anything you can do to, make that gold-baited hook free. Gold tipple means the gold-baited hook
Opening with Chum is
will
pretty good here.
stay in play.
It's a lot of health that we're gaining.
Append an on-hit to a break.
I'm not too happy about burning our 1 gold, though.
And honestly, the 6 points of health that Chum has, not that simple for Syndra to work through. A particularly annoying ally to have on the field, and also one that demands the attention of the Syndra. Yeah, Pablo can say, I'm going to activate Chum here.
Oh, he's got a
a
Wrath in his hand, so he's like, do I even want to block with this card? It's so good.
At Syndra deck, who wants to burn through him as quickly as possible.
Also
I think it's
a
worth
virtual
blocking this and
6
just
life
giving
to
up on the
Pablo
Wrath.
Pintor
I don't think the
as
Wrath is that
damage
important.
that would have otherwise gone face.
I think
now
keeping the
has to be
gravy off of
allocated
his
towards
only
this Chum.
gold, though,
That is the
is
thing
definitely worth
that
giving that
Gravy
up.
thrives on. You
That's
just
crazy.
go ahead and get these small mathematical edges, and that's the thing that makes this deck so appealing to players like Pablo Pintor, to the Michael Fungs, the Michael Hamiltons of the world. They love math. They absolutely love moments where they derive more numbers from their cards than their opponents do, and the king of that in this metagame right now is Gravy Bones.
Now, a couple of demonstrate devotions
I
used on
don't
blocks
think
there
the
for
Wrath
Timothy
is like
Teo.
that
He's
integral
sitting
to
on a
winning this
Wrath
game.
of Retribution coming
Also, you
into
could have
this
just like
turn.
blocked with boots.
A card,
like whatever.
it's only one.
You have a Wrath. You're already
it's
planning on using
legendary.
boots
You
soon.
don't include one of them in your deck. It's the Fire and Brimstone equivalent that we see in Fang. It's going to allow him to strengthen his dagger attacks on that turn. So kind of nice when you're getting wide with those kunai onto the combat chain. But coming to this turn, Timothy is looking for a few things, right? Can I generate fealty this turn, right? Those demonstrate devotions would allow you to do that, but he's chosen to block with those because a lot of those, those art cards do require for themselves to be draconic.
The Wrath next turn cycle, or do you
Heating the combat chain? This is a 2-power attack, but it discounts the next draconic card you play or activate. Important.
I guess we're
That
drawing a
does
card.
now involve his kunai as well. So 2 damage
Man, who the
onto the
fuck was
Chum. It's going to be
screaming
a
in
whole
the
minute, I think,
background?
before
Holy
we're able to
shit.
see this dealt with. A free
Guy's going
dagger
crazy.
at face is the call here for Timothy. Now looking to start to pressure the life total of Pablo.
A little bit of weaving here from Timothy, just trying to find the points of damage when he can, combine the hand in the best possible permutations to get as much clearance
hate the way
and
Pablo
threat
cups his cards.
to
I can't tell
Pablo
what they
Pintor
are.
as he possibly can.
And of course, Blood Splattered Vest will yield a resource on the hit of one of these weapons for Timothy. So, Pablo mindful of that, but it's
Are those
pretty hard to
two
prevent
swells?
there from being, dagger hits because Flick Knives will basically guarantee them for Timothy. So it is about trying to block efficiently if you choose to sort of play that way. But as we mentioned, Gravy sometimes needs a full grip or doesn't always have, a hand.
I don't think you can block this.
fantastically well. The allies do not block. You can usually divest yourselves of those on defense.
I'm assuming that's going
getting into
face.
the bin with some number of effects, but
Like all he does is
this
flick
is
the other
acceptable to
dagger.
Pablo. He'll take the 1 hit off the kunai retribution. Timothy.
This is what I mean. Like I'm just not
has to ask
interested in
the
playing
question,
games with
do I
the
have
Syndra.
a
Like
4 damage attack actually
I can't
to
fight
deal
over
with
this.
Chum?
You can have it. Like whatever,
I
man.
just want to take a moment, check in with Pablo's equipment suite. We see Balance of Justice there in the head slot. A lot of Crown of Dominions also seeing play in Gravy, but has the more powerful defensive option
Bro,
here.
wouldn't
does
rabble
Pablo
at it?
Pintor.
What a
And
mad
crucially,
lad.
if your opponent's able to
Is
draw
he just
two or
playing
more
no
cards,
blues?
you can virtually find 5 value off that. Ravenous Rabble
Sheesh.
shows a red off the top, which means it's coming in for 4. That is the magic number when it comes to dealing with Chum. He is
What's this guy's name? Timothy Tio? He's got 2 throw daggers in the list. Yeah, maybe he just sided these all out so the Rabbles always hit.
off the board, and now a cut through comes in for the follow-up. A card that gets that.
I will say, if
+1
I'm on
and go
Pablo's
again.
side and I saw that, I either think my opponent's like psycho, or I'm assuming they boarded out all their pitch cards, which does kind of change the texture of the game a little bit, where I know that I'm not going to have to play around throw daggers, which does make our balance worse. So like I'm just sending the hat the first second we get.
And if you hit with a dagger that turns, so 0 for 4, we go again. Not just another flavor of head jab. This one hitting a little hard.
The thing is, like, in this matchup, the knowing how to block Syndra, you just, most of the time, there's no actual way that you can stop the mask trigger. Like, there was never a correct answer. It was physically impossible. So they'll trick you into blocking, and then you're wrong. So it's just whatever, you can have it. Like, you will have opportunities to actually stop the mask trigger, and those will be the moments that I'll actually decide to block. And that's usually when I'll use my armor and try to pivot off of that and like get ahead in value. Like, oh, their turn's kind of mopey. I'll use my armor. You don't get a card from me. You did not make enough damage progress. I'll pull ahead on this turn cycle and play a 5-card hand. Maybe a 6-card hand.
We also picked up a card there on the Ravenous Rabble, Mask of Momentum, doing its thing. So Timothy has the ball rolling and has gotten good value out of this first turn, despite Chum being present, and is going to set up that arsenal, as we said, Mitch.
And here it is, Art of the Dragon, blood to follow things up. Again, because this is a turn ender, it doesn't really need to be draconic. This is a card that will discount your next 3.
Also, from like Pablo's side, I think you have to assume the last card here was not one of these cards. Because if it was like one of these random cards, like surely he just blocks 4 on the Humperdinck. So I'm sitting here thinking, like, the fuck is that last card? A non-block? So he physically didn't have a choice? Wrath? Maybe it's like one of his power cards that he's deciding to hold on to. He did not cast a power card this turn, but he did have the opportunity to if he wanted to, right? Like, he could have played like a Lava Burst here instead. I don't know if that's worth like not blocking with a Lava Burst there, but like whether or not I think it's reasonable, it's whether or not I think that person thinks it's reasonable. You know what I mean? And the number of cards like actually in Syndra's deck that are worth like taking damage turn 0 to keep, especially when there's a gold, it's got to be like what, the 1 for 5, the 1 for 7 rather. A non-block that you physically can't defend with. Wrath. God, is there even anything else? I think Lava Burst is pretty dubious, but maybe. I don't think there's a single other card in the deck that it could have been there. I think I'm putting him. And like, people don't really like, what's the non-block? It's just the blood drop thing, right? Like, people don't play other non-blocks in this deck anymore. And even then, like, this guy I don't think is playing it. And it doesn't seem like people play that card anymore anyways.
Draconic attacks, if it itself is
So
draconic,
I might think it's
would have
Wrath
go again.
from that
But
spot.
as a chain ender, there's no need to find a way to make this a draconic attack. It's very reasonable, especially on a turn where 6 of that oncoming damage from Timothy was soaked up by an ally. Mindful that he needs to find a way
so
to
he
pressure
is playing
Pablo's
the
lifetime.
D-react.
Blood in the water defense reaction here from the
Oh!
Grave on top.
He's him!
He knew there was a swabby. He's headed into the bin.
So good at the game.
Pretty relevant ally in any matchup, but the kind that can be picked up pretty easily by these 2 power attacks.
I'm surprised that we didn't get a D-react
Here. Let's not forget Timothy started
that
this turn with just the
kind of like how
Warlord hand. This is
Shelter works,
Timothy's
where it's like
first go
Shelter's
around
technically
here,
good
and he's
against
doing a
things like
great
Flick
job
Daggers.
producing lots of damage, as well as resetting those kunais
Oh,
cleanly
he only had
and
2
setting up a
Draconic Chain
powerful
Links. That's
arsenal.
funny.
So I would say both players with small
I
wins
don't.
across these first 2
Okay.
turns.
If my opponent does that, 1000% that's Wrath. This play makes no goddamn sense unless that's a Wrath.
Pablo did find the ally, was able to
I think
set
the
up,
jig
get
is
a
up
little
and we
bit
know
of
we're getting
life
Wrath
cushion
here.
on the first turn, but Timothy was up to the task, cleared things.
Which means I'm like slamming my boots next turn. Like this, we're getting 8 value out of boots.
Effectively, and now things are back to Pablo. Can he reestablish that board quickly enough?
It's the back alley break line coming into the pitch here off the saltwater swell. So it's becoming in for 3.
I mean, like, you're not going to fatigue in this matchup, really.
Yeah, Conqueror was
So it's just free to nuke the top of your deck there. It's just upside.
So no immediate boost there.
Could have been worse.
That. Yeah, certainly could have been worse. But Saltwater Swell is going to do its thing. So many powerful 1-for-3 go again attacks in this Gravy Bones deck. That's not really a pairing of cost and power that has shown throughout Flesh and Blood's history. But now it is absolutely doing its thing in the hands of our first Pirate Necromancer.
A pairing of what?
There is
what is he saying?
Gravy Bones decks. That's many powerful 1-for-3 go again attacks in this Gravy Bones decks. That's not really a pairing of cost and power that has
point to Pablo Pinto.
He's just
But it
talking
was
about
put there
1-for-3s.
naturally, so there would not be any extra effect. But that's one of the most powerful things this deck can do. Putting,
yeah, basically the
free
flexors, from what I've seen, the plan is basically I'm either going to line my flexors up into a Wrath and get 8 value. I'm going to pitch a blue and Dead Threads on that turn and get 8 block out of it. Or I'm just going to activate Dead Threads and block with my boots for 2 on a turn that I actually can fight over Mask. Like, they killed my ally before triggering Mask, and now there's like actually a way I can fight over Mask. Like, okay, I'm just going to shove armor. You're not going to draw a card. Me denying them a card is about as good as if I pitched a card from my hand to get more defense out of this.
plus the action point in play.
Because in both scenarios, you're basically going like +3. In the scenario that I pitch a card to get 6 block out of this, my card was normally worth 3, but instead it was worth 6, so I'm plus a card. But if I deny my opponent a card, that was also me going +3.
Not to be this time around. Compass now will peek towards the top of the deck.
having gold, I guess.
Of course, that Conqueror of the High Seas. One of the forms of disruption that these pirates can in play. This deck can do, putting 3 free pitch plus the action point in place.
With around here and is doing a 1-for-3.
Wait, where did this gold come from? I thought we used our gold. Oh, the hook. I'm dumb.
Out of the graveyard.
Something like Conqueror. Can he?
I'm around.
Okay. My brain etcher sketched the fact
Compass
that
now will
we
peek towards the top of the
hooked
deck.
because that just like wasn't
Of course,
reasonable
that
for us to actually get a
Conqueror
gold
of the
there.
High Seas. One of the forms of disruption that these pirates can leverage can be very dangerous. Syndra wants to play off those 5-card hands as often as possible. Another saltwater swell. A hit of a tip the barkeep. So 5 in the pitch zone here for Pablo Pinto.
So good.
This is kind of
And
why
we're gonna
he
get a
gets such
gold probably.
big hand.
Maybe.
Yeah, 3 into
This is where it's
3
always tough.
into
Do you
X.
hook the
That's right.
swabby?
There you hear it from Timothy. He says, Conqueror. He sniffed it out. He feels like he knows what's coming next, and now he's looking at his defensive options there in his hand. Is he going to be able to go ahead and protect that very powerful arsenal card we know he has?
Of course, 5 is kind of the magic number. If Pablo is trying to both deploy Swabby and swing with it this turn, it costs 3 to get out of the graveyard and 2 to attack for that very impressive 7. 3 health, though. So, again, any of those flavors of head jab from Syndra can account for it. Pretty nice value to get off Swabby. 10 value there. So, we saw a Brain with Cinderclaw in the hand of Timothy Teo. Another Art of the Dragon Blood.
Pretty nice looking hand offensively, but unfortunately, something like Conqueror.
Hold on, I gotta pull something up from my group chat because Trevor is saying something about how it's a double loss. And there was definitely something in my group chat about that. Okay, Facebook, don't load. I'll just
could change the output very, very quickly. And of course, there's always possibility of a bluff here. If you're in Timothy's seat, you don't want to give up defensive options where you didn't have to. So thinking very carefully about the multiple permutations of the rest of Pablo's hand. How can he play to shield himself from as much as possible here? And I have to say, I do always, when we're dealing with somebody who we don't know as well in our feature match area, I always check demeanor. I always want to see how cool, how calm, how collected they look. Timothy looks all right. For playing Pablo Pinto in round 1 of a Pro Tour in your hometown, has just looked very, very calm, collected. But now this Conqueror of the High Seas is going to put him to the test.
Pretty terrifying. So that was obviously the line that we don't touch on there. I mentioned a swabby line, but he did rip the Conqueror off the top this turn. And because there are 2 or more, and I'd say, and the emphasis is on and more, blue cards in the pitch zone, this is coming in for 8 and go again. An absolutely terrifying card for Syndra to face down, because to kind of guarantee that Mask of Momentum trigger to have that longer turn, you really want more than 4 cards. You want to have a full grip and come in, and the decks that can leverage any form of disruption, and there are a couple of
this was a really good turn.
Less notable
what was that?
in this Gravy Bones
6 into 8.
could really find success against Syndra.
Yeah, we're looking at Timothy.
No gold again,
for
though.
A fairly sizable block here.
I say again, we should have had gold turn 0.
Running a little bit short on gold here. Just go ahead and stuff. Put together a smaller next turn.
So good.
And go ahead and see if you can maybe.
We got the whole
Pablo
hand.
Still off generating a board, and go ahead and get value from that Wrath on the next turn cycle. So 3 cards committed to the block here. Full block on the Conqueror.
So it was pain in the backside.
Is it better to just give up the arsenal there? What's the hand? It's the last card, Art of Dragon Blood. I guess that's reasonable. We have 2 Chain Enders. No, because we have a brand, so we can go brand, art, pain, lava burst. Maybe we're supposed to give up the arsenal here. I don't know why we're tunnel visioning so hard on this Wrath. Because our hand is worth 8 right now, because we're attacking for 4 and blocking. No, it's worth less because we had to block with a point of armor. Our hand is worth 7, right? No, that's not how math works. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Our hand's worth 11 right now. Where if we just played our hand, it'd be 3, 6, 10, 15, but we lost our arsenal. So it's like 1 point better, but we also get to flick. So 3, 6, 10, 15, 6. It's worth 16 damage. Lose the arsenal, so that's -3. So it's worth 13 if we don't block. And it's worth 11 if we do block. I think we're supposed to just give up the arsenal and not tunnel vision on this Wrath. Maybe you can say the Wrath is worth more than 3. I'm just kind of giving it an arbitrary number as just like card and arsenal's worth 3.
Full block on the Conqueror.
So it was pain in the backside, lava burst, brand with Cinder Claw. Yeah, that would have been a pretty darn powerful turn. Even the Dragon Scaler flight path put in front here, which is, I guess like a decision point for Syndra players between that or Snapdragon Scalers. It has 1 block with Battleborn, and obviously can allow you to, if you have a Draconic attack, make that go again. So it's just going to be an Art of the Dragon Blood for Timothy Teo here.
Maybe it's not a red brand, but that wouldn't make sense. Like we talked about earlier, he probably boarded out all the non-reds.
The game is progressing. We're basically back in a very similar situation to how we played the last turn. Wrath sitting there in Arsenal, trying to protect it for Timothy. But this time, Pablo with no immediate setup. I will say a slight difference here with that Swabby at the ready. So just takes a little bit from Gravy to go ahead and start putting together a board, putting together a hand, and making things happen.
I don't think Pablo, I mean, we just have a drop there. I don't think Pablo's hand blocks very well at all. I see a number of allies in there. Obviously, a pretty good turn to have a non-blocking.
Sure thing. Yeah, and think about if Pablo didn't have that Conqueror on the last turn, he would have just gotten blown up this go-around with
At least we got a blue and a
hand here.
way to get rid of one
I
of
mean,
these
but
allies.
how about that? The Jittery Bones is
If our hand is
going to
be all
unlock this
allies.
a little bit, right? Allowing Pablo to discard one of those allies. And of course, satisfy the conditions of Jittery Bone by doing so, giving it go again. And
Not
again,
that great of a hand,
closing
though.
the chain would put a blue card in the graveyard, allowing Gravy Bones, of course, to dredge up
Our
some
hand's
of
worth
these
like
allies from
what,
the Detritus at the bottom of the
8
ocean.
on
and get them
offense, 3 on
the
defense,
attack.
but like the 3 on defense is kind of fake. because of
Sawbone's a
Syndra.
nice ally to have in play against
Arsenal?
Syndra.
Oh, we
get
dead
that
threat straight.
Swabby into the mix now and get a little offense going. Swabby, though,
Okay,
not
this is
with
a
as
bit better.
big of a back end as you expect from some of these other
What, 1
allies.
point
And that
better?
could bode well for what looks to be a very non-disruptive hand here from Pablo. Could be Timothy can go ahead and, again, weave damage to try and get that Mask of Momentum working and maybe unlock that powerful Wrath in the arsenal.
But Pablo's breathing a sigh of relief because he draws up a hand that features 3 non-blocking cards, and Timothy can only send that 0 for 4 on that turn. So if there's going to be a trough in terms of the power of the hands that Gravy's drawing up, this is the time for it. He still gets to send the Jittery Bones and develop Swabby, clear some of those allies away, either into the pitch or into the bin. Sawbones obviously waiting for an opportunity to make an appearance later on. But now, Timothy Teo sees just the vanilla damage and says, it's time for me to keep a full grip. It's time to go up a gear.
Yeah, I think this is a good spot for Timothy. And again, no gold generated on that turn for Pablo Pintor. So as far as setup goes, it's not looking that strong. Now, plenty of equipment still at the ready. We mentioned that balance of justice as a little bit of extra defense. Of course, the quick dodge flexors could be called upon to produce some extra defense. So let's see how Timothy puts this hand together.
Ronin Renegade starts things off. I call it the spicy head jab. It's a 0 for 3 with go again. Very reasonable starter.
First hit has already happened. Second chain link now, yellow brand.
Okay, and Pablo says, fine. 2 comes in. That's acceptable. Now, Timothy Teo's next attack action card will be Draconic. Or next attack in general. Here we go. Hot on her heels to follow this one up.
And that was directed right at that ally, and that means Mask has now gotten a free card. So essentially a free ally clear there. And that's one of the vulnerabilities of a card like Swabby. There's just so many opportunities for these Syndra players to go ahead and clean that up at virtually no cost.
Yeah, Hot on the Heels obviously would have allowed Timothy to mark Pablo, but it's a very reasonable time to get a free card. And there's that Wrath of Retribution being sat on for quite some time. Again, discounted for each Draconic chain link you control. So pretty relevant, of course, that it's the 4th. And daggers now will get +1 and are free to activate this combat chain. And Wrath of Retribution itself comes in for, again, that 0 for 3.
This is going to be a big turn from Timothy Teo, and as most of the biggest Syndra turns are, it's going to be fueled by this Wrath of Retribution. Now these kunais are going to go ahead and
I'm curious to
do
see if he
their
decides
thing
to pull the trigger on the
at
quick
a
dodge,
discount,
or if he wants
and
to
I
save
expect
it to
they're
fight
going
over
do it
Mask.
multiple times across this turn.
It's like reasonable to save it to fight over
I remember
Mask.
flicking these kunais won't
Surely you dead
damage.
threads
Still will
first.
cause only 1 damage from those knives, but they will still count as
There's
being
no reason
hit. So
to
this
pitch
is a
into this
reasonable
yet.
time, Pablo feels, for quick dodge flexes to get involved. And obviously, he can make use of this, well, as many times as Timothy wants to put attack actions in the front of him.
Try and get a little peek when we can at Pablo's hand. I want to know what defensive options he is working with here. Go ahead and did use a potentially defensive card in the form of that Tip the Barkeep, so it wasn't quite an ally fusing that quick dodge flexor. So that tells me there's probably some other good blocking options still left for Pablo.
There's that 2 damage kunai coming in, a very
let's move it
reasonable
again.
turn.
Keep
I mean,
hopping.
and that is a 1 card 6 defense value block virtually. You can look at it as like a blood on the water with upside. So Pablo finds a great spot to make use of these quick dodge flexes. So both of those kunai
That might be
come in.
about max value you can get from quick dodge.
Oh,
Okay,
it's not
Dragon's
max.
Kind of flight path goes into the
We
bin.
can go
This would be
even further
allowing
beyond. We can activate
kunai
dead threads.
to come in again. And also having that go again. Sometimes the flight path is used just to give a draconic attack action go again, but there's the flexibility here to allow you to have
Now, do we pitch another
additional
card into this?
dagger attack in the turn. And 1 kunai will also get flicked. So Timothy doing about as best as he can. And bear in mind, there are still
'Cause
cards to play for Mr. Teo.
we definitely
Bloodstone
get to
Invest will
block
yield a
2 more
resource
times.
Now we are, God, 6 chain links wide, I want to say.
Because he's going to
All the
re-equip
chain links in the world
one
for this Syndra,
and
there's
throw
many,
an
many
attack
more
with it
coming.
again.
That kunai will be rebought, and then we'll
And
be able to
surely he
attack
doesn't
again,
IP1
still
himself, so he's
receiving
going to attack again.
this benefit of the Wrath.
I mean,
there's the Syndra ability.
Yeah, it is.
I hate the, like,
pretty absurd.
Microscopic tap of
Free
Syndra.
kunai for 2 damage, and the hits just keep on coming. 2 cards still sat in the hand for Timothy Teo, so spending this, I guess, middle area of the combat chain here, just trying to draw Pablo a little bit more.
All
into the
that being
fray.
said, all this damage, even on life. I think I'm ahead if I'm Pablo right now. Like, we're untapping with 3 cards, and we're just going to be a smidge behind on life. We've burned the boots. There's only one more use left on the chess piece. This is great.
At least one ally in Pablo's hand. I believe I saw a Swabby sitting there.
You want me to put this into the graveyard? No. Did it come in distant? Sorry? Did it come in distant? The Sawbones. Sawbones, I'm trying to think as well. Because Sawbones came in last turn,
You
right?
killed Schwabi this turn.
Oh, sorry, yeah. Okay.
So
okay.
that's why I got win.
You got
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
I keep waiting because it's down.
Players just checking there to understand
so
what has hit the bin this turn, if the Dead Threads is ready to go.
Still so much action available to Timothy.
Okay.
Nope, we
So
got
2
another
damage,
spoiler
Pablo, of
apparently.
course.
Hold on, let's take a look at the spoiler. Copy image link.
I just leave the quick.
Let's see. Test of Iron Grip. We got a 4-block card. Win this defends. Clash. The winner. If there is a winner, the other hero discards a card. I mean, was it in stream or was it IRL? I was talking about this where I was surprised that we don't have more disruptive win this defend cards. And literally you got one. This card's really good. This is really good.
Quick dodge.
They put
flexes
ult and
there.
react on the Clash.
May not look to
Sheesh.
commit another card to that.
And Breaking Point, the last card here from Timothy Teo. So a little bit of rupturing going on. Unfortunately, did not catch Pablo with an arsenal here, but did find plenty of damage on this turn. Look how wide the chain has gone and will keep an arsenal for the next
Also,
go-around.
It was 3
no
dagger
daggers
hits
in
at
play.
+1 plus a flick.
Meaning
of
the
them.
next
I
turn
think,
might
what,
be pretty
4,
anemic.
Attack
And this is
actions
a
and
very
get avoid on the
reasonable
breaking point.
turn,
So very
Like
good
on this next turn cycle to leverage our armor to fight over a mask trigger because we know we can't get flicked.
turn. The kind that Timothy was happy to take all that damage for. Now Pablo very quickly.
So the only thing to worry about there would be an Ancestral Empowerment. But if Ancestrals, we get to crack our helmet.
Getting back into his wheelhouse. It's a red golden tipple. This will create that gold token, something Pablo wasn't able to do in the prior turn. Sawbones and Swabby at the ready to be deployed.
Yeah, and again, allies without much of a backside, like just very, very farmable for this Syndra. So it feels like Pablo really not finding the right ally mix thus far in this game, but has found good damage output. I don't want to ignore the fact that Timothy Teo also at 23, and that's kind of the messed up thing about Gravy. As it does its thing, as it builds its board, your life total is also going down quite rapidly.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, much like you would have looked at, Enigma, there's a value on both sides of these allies. The damage that you can do with them when you deploy them, and also the damage they can sort of soak up. Swabby, of course, gets him to sort of 10 there at 7 power and 3 health. So
Nani? Huh? What the fuck?
a second of the action out here. Apologies, folks, for that brief interruption. A mild technical issue has been ironed out here at the venue. And the good news is you've not missed a second of the action. The game was halted, and we'll be able to jump back in just Party's turn.
Yep, Pablo just trying to do the Gravy thing, get that setup rolling, has the gold now. That means Gravy is online. Let's see how he puts the turn together.
Why do we
Not
have
a bad
music
time
now?
to go ahead and chart the high seas here, Mitch.
What have we
Why is there
seen
music?
on top? Swell and a sunken treasure. Like, yeah, treasure into the bin. And this swell, of course, will enter the pitch zone. is such an interesting block card, Sunken Treasure. If we get a Gravy Mirror, it's definitely going to be worth talking about a little bit later on. But importantly, Pablo breaks the chain, gets his pitch filled up, and he's definitely eyeing off all those allies.
Yeah, could consider something like a gold activation as well, but does have a Swabby attack queued up here. And we have
you don't
mentioned
crack
how
gold here
there's just a lot
after
of damage
compassing,
being
right?
offered by Pablo. And actually,
It's a gold activation.
Really?
yeah, it is
That's
going to be a
crazy.
gold activation here. So let's see what Pablo can go ahead and get. I
If
think
we
Rigor
draw an
Mortis
ally,
off
we
the
brick
top, yep.
ourselves.
So that means just the Sawbone's going to be produced here.
Why did we draw?
Coming in for 6, though, pretty decent number. Sawbones, of course, crucially able to prevent some of the damage that would come in.
I don't think that we're like behind in this game where we need to take gambles
but
with
this once more is
gold.
an ally that is relatively easy bait for a Syndra to chew through. And also on that third, chain link, potentially draw a card off Mask of Momentum.
Yeah, 2 life. That's it. And again, I will call out the damage being done by Pablo Pintor.
you know?
Yeah, he's got the life lead right now, and is going to go
Rager's
ahead
second
and do a little
rigor mortis, I
drawing
think.
here as well.
Unlucky.
Just tighten up that arsenal for the next go-around. But again, facing down a 5-card hand here from Timothy, and probably a Mask of Momentum activation.
And we are now looking towards the pointy end of this match, and the pointy end of whatever Syndra wants to stick in front of Gravy Bones here. Down to 16 is Pablo Pintor. Timothy Teo maintained another 5-card, 4-card hand, 1 arsenal, and
Yeah,
there's
this is gonna be a
counter
really
left
good
on
turn to
Blood
actually
Splattered
fight
Vest,
over the
another
mask.
resource there at his disposal. It's go time.
Good call out, Mitch. That last counter going to juice any potential output
that a
here.
throw
Has
dagger?
the Blaze Headlong if he's got a nice starter as well. This hand already shaping up to look pretty good. And for Timothy, it's all about
So is he just a
the
psycho?
weave, figuring out where that
bro,
damage is being
imagine
inserted,
drawing throw dagger after
maximizing
throwing
the
both your daggers.
difficulty of defensive
Unlucky.
decisions for Pablo Pintor,
He also could've just blocked
two-time
with it.
Pro Tour champion.
First question you got to ask the Syndra, what does the starter look like? Notice there's no kunai in play right now. That's important, right? Sometimes Syndra on a weird turn with no starter opens with a kunai. It's a bit of a tell. Your opponent tends to know that, hold on, there's not an easy sort of opener for my opponent. Timothy Teo will have to get some chain links on the board to get those kunai back into play. And Blaze Headlong is not a starter.
See a Rising Resentment in hand as well, but Timothy has now reached for a card. Looks like it's going to be that Fire Tenant Strike first doing its
draconic.
thing. And Pablo's ready to defend.
Remember, he cleared that ally out of his hand, Rigor Mortis, with that Gravy
might have
Bones
just given
activation, and
I guess-
got another Arsenal card.
I guess
But
not giving
Fire
our
Tenant Strike first, very
armor is pretty reasonable, so
starter,
that way you
pumps
can
the
keep
next
your break
draconic
points
attacks,
ready.
and it's a very good candidate for Blaze Headlong to
Yeah,
follow it up.
this
It's
is probably
5
better.
go again. The balance of justice now getting
The double rabble, though.
committed. Another murderous rabble in on blocks. Pablo Pintor mindful that Timothy Teo is looming large here.
Good time for Pablo to have a strong defensive hand here. And look, these are only a couple of 3 blocks, but that's what a strong Gravy defensive hand looks like. Is defending very, very well thus far. Looks like a Tipple left as another potential defending card, and one more unknown.
But again, he may want the Tipple to actually have a turn. Yeah, pretty important, I think, to keep the wheels turning on that Gravy. It's impressive that resilience, the ability to
Nice,
hang for
Syndra,
this,
okay.
yeah. So what is it?
Bro,
Okay.
this guy's a
We
psycho.
are-
He went
Okay,
rabble
we're
at an
paying for it,
ally
okay,
when
yeah.
he could have
We're
missed.
paying 1.
What
2,
the
excuse
fuck?
me.
2. Yep, 1 reduction from the Blaze Headlong, only 1 Draconic Chain Link thus far.
Yeah,
but
oddly
now
enough.
it's time to go ahead and get these kunais working, and that tells me I think Timothy's still trying to find a way to threaten Mask on this turn, despite Pablo stuffing the first 2 chain links.
Yeah, I mean, Timothy needs his kunai on the board to flick them to, at least register a hit on a chain link if he wants to get that mask. But pretty
Yeah, I like
costly
activating
till
Sawbones
this
on
dagger
this.
back and play. And yeah, ironically, 5-10 strike first.
Or block with
non-draconic, card, or looks
gloves,
like
and
it.
if he
Say
flicks,
this,
then
great time for
Sawbones.
Timothy to have the blue. These Syndras have gotten very lean on the blue count once again, and that's something that has kind of shifted back and forth across metagames. When it's time, though, to challenge Gravy Bones, you are often leaning as red line as possible. And now we get a block from this gold-baited hook here. So Pablo senses some weakness here, is going to go ahead and try and deny that mask on this turn, and I think he's going to succeed very, very nicely.
And I mean, just the value.
That was actually a misplay there. He should have on declare attacks activated Sawbones, because if he reacts to flick the knife there, the Sawbones will eat the flick. So he just took an extra point for no reason.
proposition over the last couple of turn cycles for Pablo has been pretty fantastic. Remember, he had a 3-ally hand, right? Well, it's a turn that Timothy's in a power trough. Pablo's able to, clear those out. This turn, gold-baited hook comes in to block that kunai, absolutely denying a master trigger, such that the Rising Resentment has to go into Sawbones in order to clear him. Pablo's taken very little damage. Now, Loot the Hold comes in, so this is another way that your gravy can attach an on-hit. Now you've got to respect this 6 coming in from Rigor Mortis a little bit more, because Loot the Hold will threaten Timothy Teo's arsenal.
Feels like almost the perfect card here, Mitch. In combination
so
with
good in
that
this
Rigor
matchup.
Mortis, we talked about how these low-life allies are not providing that quasi-defensive value, but that's a lie when they're combined with things like Loot the Hold. Now, if you're challenging Arsenal, you are presenting defensive value. You're taking away options from Timothy Teo, and once again, presenting 6 damage with Timothy only at 14 life.
Also, like threatening the generation of a gold token, which is something that, Pablo's been kept off of for most of this game, but that really unlocks the awkward hands for Gravy, right? It really allows you to filter a little bit more. Have a check at the top, get a card discarded. But for the time being, the proposition is 6 damage to the face of Timothy Teo. Now, though, with the potential to take away Syndra's Arsenal card, something that Timothy last turn had to really just set up, keep this for Timothy.
It's out of their acceptable. You have this tournament really Syndra.
Deck, which is Blood Splattered Vest going to get in front with blocks, and it's the Cut Through and Ancestral Empowerment both being committed. That
we
is
might
how
end this
much
game never
Timothy Teo
actually
wants
using
to
our helmet.
protect this Arsenal card.
But like,
Pretty even game in terms of life
okay.
total, but Rigor Mortis is still on the
I think
field.
I'm okay with
The
that.
upside for Syndra is that
Our opponent never
it's
casts
pretty
an
trivial
ancestral.
to clear him out.
Yeah,
Here's
Rigor
pain in the
Mortis
backside.
Not going to be here long. Pain in the backside does it thing.
Oh!
Sunken Treasure going to go ahead and produce some gold. Hopefully, yes, there is the golden tipple. And I think this is big for Pablo because it started to feel like he was a little resource light going into this next turn. Refreshing gold here does a lot to make me feel more comfortable about what he's going to be able to produce.
Yeah, Sunken Treasure in the mirror, very, dangerous for other gravies who would have their allies turn face down. But if you're not in the mirror, you can still flip over one of those less relevant cards in your graveyard, get yourself some gold. Fire Tenet Strike First goes into Rigor Mortis, so big commitment. But
That was a good Rigor
all she wrote
Mortis.
for Timothy Teo's turn here. He'll
Bought
enter his
2
next
cards,
with
armor,
21
and
kunai
another
in play.
card.
That felt like a win,
That was
absolutely, for
pretty
Pablo
good.
Pintor. Again, in a moment, facing down a large hand, finds a really good piece of disruption in the form of Rigor Mortis, wins cards out of hand, doesn't really have the board set up anymore, but has the gold, has 3 cards in an arsenal to work with. Swabby's still sitting out there, so I think Pablo is going to, again, get out
And we
of
haven't
this
seen 2
turn
conks yet.
kind of holding things static, and that's all he needs to do. He needs to keep things static, and at some point, the sheer value of Gravy Bones can overwhelm this Syndra, and that life total of 15...
We probably, the second
you
that we
can
draw a
still
conk,
breathe. You're not just suffering under every
kind
single
of just
threat
win the game.
that Syndra is putting out there.
Pablo's peering into every timeline right now. A little bit of Doctor Strange action here because, again, the card that you see on the top of your deck can really dictate the way the turn goes. So many branching decisions from this point on. And what exactly are we working with for our Spaniard here? Portside Exchange, a 2 of, and looks like likely a red tipple.
I think his
around the
arsenal's
back.
an
So
ally.
I think we're looking at Red Temple as the last card. So we're going to refresh with the gold here. We do know what it's going to be thanks to the
His
compass.
hand kind of doesn't do
Try and take
anything.
one more look. Pablo denies us once more. It is Golden Tipple, the next play. Red version, and there was a Swabby picked up.
Okay, now it does something.
Okay. Gold baited
Does
hook
it?
is essentially free.
We still
once
have to play
again,
a
there's
blue.
Gold token generated by Golden Tipple. This threatens another one. And the kind of card that Syndra does not want to block. Pablo aware of this and be mindful that he's looking to get an extra gold off the back of this. And it looks like maybe a Jittery Bones picked up here for Pablo.
Yeah, the real problem here for Timothy is the unknowns left in hand. Like, there is a moment where you just want to go ahead and soak up a bunch of damage and go ahead and try and fire and put Pablo in the blender at that 1 to 2 life total. But Pablo's still with so many cards left. 2 in hand, 1 in arsenal. That represents the full range of what his deck is capable of in this moment. And Timothy has no certainty about what the rest of this turn is going to entail.
I mean, for me, the turning point felt like Pablo's blocking disrupt
For me, man.
put in front of the tipple now. So this is really a question of maintaining life total, denying an extra gold generation. Is there another Blaze Headlong there?
This is where I wish we had a gold kiss in place. So
This
we
is
could,
where it
like,
gets really interesting for Syndra.
give
How do you navigate and
ally
get
go again
max value off these
for the
smaller
attack,
hands?
and then
Do
just
you
clear
have
our
a way of
arsenal
forcing
if it's a
master, or
tip,
can you
if
just
it's
make it
a
pretty
rigor
good
mortis.
value if you're virtually mid-ranging at this stage of the game?
Time for a gold draw here for Pablo.
Oh.
Chart
the high
seas. Yeah, so we're going to get another reset here. Maybe even more resources
Back
getting
alley?
in the mix. It looks like red into yellow here.
Okay.
So it
Back
does
alley would've been sick
refresh
there.
gold.
No blue, though, so no extra pitch there for Pablo.
Are
Has
we just
now
going to play the
played a
Swabby, or are
blue
we just
into the
going to crack
graveyard,
gold
though.
and try going one more time? The thing is, like, what do we draw here that matters? It really isn't much.
I mean,
Let's
notice
probably
that
just play the
Pablo
Swabby
had
and move on with life.
two portside exchange at the start of this turn. One of them is already in the pitch zone.
Hey, Christian.
Swabby being looked at here. There is that second portside exchange. Dead Threads will give you the extra resource, and Swabby comes in for 7. Half of Timothy Teo's remaining life total. He's already committed a card to blocks on this turn.
I just want to know if I'm
Can
crazy.
he
Did we brick our arsenal? I got to go back to that
Ooh.
that draw from
Out of
earlier.
his hand, Rigor Mortis. This one with the kunai.
It's
That
here.
setup rolling
right?
has.
Timothy Teo just had a
Yep, Pablo just trying to do the gravy thing, get that setup rolling, has the gold now. That means gravy is online. Let's see how he
on swell, of course. The gravy. It's the Sawbones, of course. Time that either relatively actually draw
damage. Be ahead and do a little drawing here.
like 6, you know.
Yeah,
Okay, so we draw Rigor
he's
Mortis.
got the life lead right now.
And did we see that it was a Rigor Mortis already?
That's jumped down to the feature match area as Timothy Teo
I had to go
just had a
to right
big
before the time
pop-off
jump.
turn. Pablo now wants to respond. It's a golden tipple to open the gravy's turn.
Yep, Pablo just trying to do the gravy thing, get
It's, Timothy Teo on Syndra going up against Pablo Pinto's Gravy Bones. This will get that gold token, something back into his wheelhouse. It's a red golden tipple. This will create that gold token, something Pablo will.
Oh, that's a chart? Did he cast the chart? Okay, but that's a chart that changes everything.
Half of Timothy Teo's remaining life total. He's already committed a card to blocks on this turn. And can he scale off of a 2-card hand plus arsenal if he's in the case that he's blocking with 1?
not when he's got to clear that Swabby as well. It just seems like a moment where Timothy does have to go ahead and offer some offense here. And if he's down to 7, is there enough to start making Pablo uncomfortable? It really depends.
If that's a chart, though, why
on
is he
the
sitting on it?
texture of
Wouldn't it have made
Pablo's
sense to
hand.
play it earlier in this turn?
Timothy just seeing exactly who else might be looming in the gloom
Okay.
of the graveyard.
We're going to go back to this
And
turn.
it's been all the dregs of the
If it
curse crew
is
doing
a
the work
chart,
this go around.
so I
It's
can
been the
reevaluate what the
Swabbies,
turn
it's been
looks
the
like and
rigor
try to
mortis.
figure out why he
Yeah,
didn't play it if it is
absolutely. Those
chart.
common allies, nothing to scoff at. Those damage numbers, they're real, and you have to account for them. And as the Syndra player,
we
you
are
are now
taking it.
falling down to 7 based on this offensive flurry from Swabby and Rigor Mortis.
Okay. Again, Swabby easily enough cleared, I guess, by Timothy Teo, but still requires one of his head jabs to
Oh, was that a
get rid of
conk?
it.
Are we
He's
nice?
already working on a small
Oh,
hand
that's
after
some,
blocking
that's some
with the card.
yellows.
This is a no block, I believe. He drew the riches on
It's
this
an
turn. And
eye?
Eye of Ophidia as
Ophidia.
well, I believe. So could be a vulnerable spot here from Pablo. Let's not forget, Gravy can always go ahead
It's
and
not riches,
reset
is it?
the
I
hand.
don't think he was
Oath
playing
of
that.
Loyalty kicks things off and clears the
Maybe he
Swabby
was.
immediately.
All right, Oath of Loyalty must be the first card of the turn, and you can only play Draconic cards following that. So it's an Oath of Loyalty into Blaze Headlong. 0 for 4 into 0 for 4. Now looking to threaten the life total of Pablo Pinto himself. Yes, that is not. Yeah, there's a sloop in the hand, a conquer at the high seas as well, just quietly. And then, yeah, two
So it's sloop, tipple,
$1,000 hand.
eye,
The
conk.
thing is, though, if Pablo is able to
pretty
make
good.
it through here, that hand could
Depends what
provide
color
some
that tipple
fireworks. And he
is.
has made it through with a snatch being pitched here. So not even full efficiency
we can fight
from
over
the
the mask,
hand
though.
here on the part of Timothy Teo.
Hunt the Hunter, the attack here. So again, it will mark Pablo if you have.
This all
played
just
another red
depends on what
card
the
this
arsenal
turn.
is, honestly.
Just a similar flavor to Blaze Headlong.
First potential fealty of the
If
match.
the arsenal's a
Going to be
chart,
generated
It's probably
at
look
this
at the
late
top of the deck to
stage.
find
It's
out
gonna
if the
be
chart's
sort of
going to hit a
less
blue.
Relevant. We've seen those. The Dragon.
'Cause the thing is, we could just, like, Bro's at 7, just kill him, you know?
Singular attack for Timothy Teo on that turn.
Well, they're
Just go
versatile.
conk,
They don't
tipple,
necessarily have to be
rigor
powered up
mortis,
by those
smork.
fealties, and that's one of the reasons why these Syndra decks have embraced those cards so wholeheartedly.
I do enjoy the partially transparent marked card here. It's the eyebrow raise of my opponents when I slap a marked token on top of their hero, and they're like, oh, come on, man. What did I get this full art hero for if I can't see it? So, nice little touch. No blocks. We are shipping the damage, folks. Pablo Pinto going to take all of that 5 damage.
Is that a fate for scene in the pitch?
The knives, a fealty
what is that card?
Created, like you mentioned, Brian, the first of this game. Timothy
Maybe it's
also
Snatch? I don't know what that card
his
is.
daggers.
Mass Trigger is going to do its thing as well, and that means a refreshed arsenal here for Timothy, and now it's all about what can Pablo do on this turn. And
any knowers in chat? What was that card?
The
foreign
unknown.
card in
we
pitch.
have to go ahead and see what things like what riches can go ahead and produce. It's going to be up to the gold to produce a big turn here for Pablo Pintor.
First things first, though, I have a feed here allowing Pablo to look 2 cards deep and then, of course, draw off this activated gold. So first things first, let's have a look. Tipple and chart the high C spotted. I mean, Pablo would certainly love to know what the...
That's I think it's a blue sloop.
How to set this up so the chart
I don't
high
think
C
he
is
was
gonna be more
playing red
effective. Looks like
sloops.
Both on top.
Okay.
It was
For
Snatch,
Pablo,
thanks.
I think it's all about getting to that Conqueror on this turn. Here's the chart. First reveal is blue,
it's
golden
blue
tipple.
tipple.
And
So good at the
finds
game.
Chum
So
as
talented.
well,
So
refreshes the
handsome.
gold. Everything coming up, Pablo, thus far on this very, very important turn here.
Oh,
in
it's
our first
new
round
on the
of Pro
Snatch?
Tour.
And
That's
what more
cool.
can you ask for? An ally that comes down that can essentially blank Timothy Teo, soak up 6 of that damage, demand that Timothy deal with it, just as he's trying to strike a death blow.
Yeah, like I
to
said,
the
once we
shipwreck
draw our
leader.
conk, we probably
And
just win the game.
The fact that we, get that tipple into the pitch is fantastic.
And
Of
the
course,
funny thing here too is we just don't give a shit about him drawing a card off of the Snatch, the mask. He's probably just going to lose the arsenal anyways. Like he's probably just going to. I mean, he's at 7. He can't just no blocks this turn. Like no matter what, we're throwing 10 at him. It might not be a Red's tipple, but we're throwing a lot at him this turn. He's assuredly having to block with all of his cards and still maybe be deceased.
Which is a Tropical Dart if that's in the hand. That is a refresh of, or rather, another gold token generated. A Swift Water Sloop here at the top of the.
Or he gets to
stack
keep
for
like a
Pablo,
1 or
is
2
what
card
he's considering.
hand,
Blue sloop.
and we
no,
get
it's
It's going to be the
his
Conqueror
mask off the
kicking
board
things off
and
here,
maybe
coming
his
in
flick.
for big 8. But that's not going to be the end of the turn.
And he just can't
8
win the game
go
without those.
again.
Like, we could
is
just
the
put
offer
cards in
here,
front of
and
cards.
Chum is still ready to get involved in the action, and this represents lethal for Timothy Teo.
There is no respite here for your Syndra player. Now, not only facing lethal damage, but once again, Arsenal Disruption coming at a very important juncture. 8 damage is a heck of a lot. Blood Splattered Vest in the prior turn was already committed on blocks. Timothy now.
Goddamn
has to
Arsenal,
override his on
Pablo.
the wall with Chum
What is it?
threatening to follow this up. That is 12 damage. Chum with a backside to Envy, I'd suppose. Be able to soak up a lot of damage as well.
It sort of feels like any other ally. You could just be like, okay, I'll take my chances
just
here. I'll
ignore
defend
it.
with 1 card, and I'll try and present lethal. I'll hope you get caught with a no-block hand. But Chum is not going to let that happen. At some point, it's going to mess up your offensive output, and that is complicating things for Timothy here.
Probably
I would
not.
suggest this
I don't even
turn cycle
know
is
if you're
the
supposed to go
pretty
for
worst case
Chum
scenario
here.
for a Syndra player.
I think you
Now,
just go
I
for the
guess
one that does the most
Theo-
damage.
Timothy can hope that Pablo does not draw up a card with Water Engrave because
Like
that is
I think we're
required
just trying to
fill Chum's
decease our
ability.
opponent here. And if we do not decease our opponent, then we get all of his
That's asking
cards.
for a lot. It's some big
Yeah, see, like-
blocks and Mask of Momentum will be
And
straight
then we
down
just
the
put
go
lethal
for
on the
now.
stack, right? Like
Not much more that Timothy Teo could do about it. It really values that Arsenal. We have a gold activation once more. So it looks like that card was not a rich as a Tropodani, but a yellow tipple in the end. Still Swift Water Sloop to extend.
So we're going
the
rigor
turn.
mortis
Yeah,
after
it's
this.
more go again, and there's still a resource floating.
This is
so
the
we're ready
first
to go
blue sloop that
with
I've seen
an
cast so
ally as
far.
well to close this out. And for Timothy,
Outside of the Hamilton
again,
game where he opened
about
with it
the
and it was
worst
just
case
kind of ass.
scenario here, you have bet a lot on just holding
I did
ground.
like this card
Once
quite a bit
more,
in
trying
Limited.
to go ahead and punt to the next turn cycle, but this turn is nowhere near over for Pablo Pintor.
And with Dead Threads up,
I think he's just
Pablo's
dead.
representing Rigor Mortis being played and attacking with that. So that is 8 into 4 into 6.
Oh, gravy bones. Oh, my
Yep.
goodness.
Rigor
Oh, gosh.
mortis gets
Okay,
in the
so-
mix as well.
When did we actually decide to block this game? I want to, test that theory a little bit more. So there's going to be quite a bit of fast forwarding here. I think we only ended up blocking like 2 turns this game. It was like he has no daggers. I'll block with both my rabbles. This turn, where it was just like value boots. It's not like we were like really blocking for any other reason. We like got 4 out of this. We got 8 out of this. And then we had the turn that we fought over mask. And then I think we had one other turn that we fought over mask. I think we basically just blocked like functionally those 4 times. Boots, D-react, 2 times fighting over mask. Am I correct in that? Just blocking sucks in this matchup. It's just like you never win the turn cycle by blocking unless you stop their mask. And your cards just do more than theirs. Yeah, so he didn't block there. Literally couldn't block. This is the boots turn. Sloop seems reasonable. I like blue sloop in limited, and you know how it is when cards are pretty good in limited. They're usually pretty good in CC. I don't know if it's worth the inclusion in the deck, though. I think it's like a nice anti-fatigue tool where it's just like a go again that you can pitch for later. It's also probably pretty reasonable in the mirror. As we saw yesterday, one of the failure points in the mirror is on first cycle, you just burn through all the attacks in your deck. Because most of your attacks that clear allies are reds. So then you get stuck with like just 1 power attacks on second cycle and maybe rabbles. And it just basically becomes incredibly difficult to actually clear allies in the mirror. Okay, so this is the turn that he blocked with 2 rabbles. There's no daggers in play, so we identified we can actually fight over mask this turn. Oh, he blocked with armor also on that turn. So maybe it was literally just the 3 turns, and we only fought over mask 1 time all game. Okay, Okay, he did block on the next turn. It was just opponent played small hand, so we can block. Again, we know we can win a mask fight, so we blocked. No blocks. Yeah, so we blocked 4 times this game. Fight over mask. Value, fight over mask. Not in that order. He does? Okay, we'll skip forward.
Pablo the W.
Oh, man. Talk about an embarrassment of riches for Pablo Pinto. Stacking up the gold and then exchanging it for raw, unmitigated power. That is exactly what we've come to expect from Gravy Bones. And now taking down one of its most way forward in this tournament. And it's a Pablo Pinto's got to be feeling good about, the way forward and the rest of this. Chops in the Syndra. Pablo Pinto's got to be
ChatGPT, enhance. Cortana, enhance. Can we like actually zoom in more? Not really.
feeling good about,
I think that's a rigor mortis. Okay, so my eyes didn't deceive me the first time. I feel like you're just supposed to IP that. Am I stupid? I also don't think you're supposed to crack gold that turn. Or, like, whatever he did on that turn to end up with, like, the double rigor mortis. I don't think he was supposed to do that. I don't know what he was like looking for there. I should ask him later. What was it? It was this is the spot. He's got 5 floating and 1 gold. So he draws off of gold. But like any ally is a brick here. And I guess he's thinking, well, any ally is a brick, but if I attack, surely I get a gold back. And it's unlikely that I go ally. But realistically, he hasn't actually seen that many allies this game. This is like, what, 4 total allies or something like that? Like, we've gone through a number of cards. The chances of you actually hitting ally, I think, are not insignificant. Like, enough where I'd be like, I don't know if I want to make that play. When I could just, like, I don't know, play the Swabby and move on with life. This is why we made all these resources, so we can just, like, efficiently play a Swabby and we don't die of cringe and just save the Sawbones for later. And he doesn't even have daggers, so the Sawbones, like, isn't even that good right now. I just, like, I want to make sure I have a gold in play. Like, I don't want to go to 0 gold. I think this is, like, kind of a throw. But also, he should have had 1 more life. That was a different issue, though. Okay, good game. Yeah, maintaining the theory of just be proactive, outvalue them. This guy looks familiar. Has he top stuff before?
Flexes and Gravy Bones in the hands of Michael Hamilton. Very powerful deck. I kind of
I feel like I've seen him on stream before.
to see him, like on Verdant or something. That would have been more thematic if a marker, but this is the most powerful.
Let's see, Hamilton. I think we already watched maybe it was someone else. We saw, I think, someone play this matchup, and no, it was someone else in top 8, and I think they had the Royal Hat or something because they weren't playing Crown of Providence. They couldn't do that, but they were also playing Quick Dodge. Makes sense to have the Providence in this matchup. That seems like massive. I think that was a really good choice on Hamilton's part to play those 2 helmets. Usual suspects from the other side. I guess no Redback. I don't know if they typically play Redback into Gravy. This is like new technology that they're playing.
Deck. You'll note the quick dodge flexes in the equipment slot here. Definitely going to be important in this matchup against Arachne Slip through the cracks. Excuse me, going to open up here.
So one thing I actually want to think about in this matchup, and I think I want to go back to the other game real quick and evaluate when they actually blocked with their boots. Because I don't remember when they blocked with boots in that game. That'd be why. That's a good reason to not remember when he blocked with his boots. Okay. Wasn't just I was having a senior moment.
With a yellow golden tipple.
I feel like this is
because I could definitely see just playing Mage Masters in this matchup because of the risk of getting backdoor fatigued. It's just how likely do you think that they actually win a race, I guess? Especially with you playing Crown of Providence. I could definitely see it be you only need to play one of these 2 things, not both.
defining matchup, or one of them. At least now in this stage, this is the defining matchup. Earlier on in the tournament, I said it was all about Syndra versus Gravy Bones. The Syndras have fallen by the wayside to some extent. The Arachne slip through the cracks absolutely have not. How does Michael feel about this particular matchup? We're going to see what his plan is here, kicking things off with that Golden Tipple, as well as the Sawbones already ready to do its thing.
Swiftwater Swell Will be the
Only
follow-up to
full
this
art
Golden
Command and
Tipple, a Dead
Conquers,
Threads
not
activation for that
Marvel
required
or
resource.
Deathmatch Arena ones.
So
What a
Michael
poor.
with a
What a
likes to play with
poor.
a left-handed configuration with his equipment on his right. And it's
Wait, we're
kind of just
taking damage?
that damage as well.
Oh, this is
Going
not
down
turn
to
one.
35 here. So he's sitting on a card in Arsenal. Definitely wants to crack in with a powerful turn. But Michael definitely been able to get off to the races here. Sawbones hits the...
So my other, I talked about this when we watched it last time.
My current interpretation of this matchup,
Like I said, there's a bit of fear getting backdoor fatigued.
so I think you're trying to play like value with them for a bit of the game, and you just don't want to make sure that you don't piss away all your allies. And my current idea of how the matchup functions is the large health allies, basically the ones that can't just dagger, are very good because the value prop on Slippy's side is the stealth attacks are the cards that they want to actually go face with. But when you play large health allies, it typically demands the stealth attacks go into those instead, which has a lot of implied value of denying them their on hits. And it basically just means that you're only ever really getting vanilla damage sent face or occasional on hits, making it much easier to play the matchup. Like if it's just daggers and shit, who cares?
board a pretty relevant, I think, ally in this kind of matchup. Being able to, prevent damage coming in makes the math for clearing allies a little bit more complex for Connor.
Oh, it also does a good job of messing up those dagger hits, flick knives type stuff. It kind of is a must clear for these Arachnes slip through the cracks. And anytime you can dictate the pace of the game, that's a really good position to be in, especially for Michael Hamilton. It really feels a lot of his theory of Flesh and Blood is built around telling his opponents what to do, bossing them around.
And the kind of play that's trended towards the decks that can have these deterministic
I don't know if I would
outcomes
agree with that. Because his Starvo deck wasn't that, right? Like, his Starvo deck was actually pretty reactive. It was a very block-heavy Starvo. He wasn't even playing Awakening. So, I wouldn't say he was really dictating the pace of the match there. He was reacting to the pace of the match. Maybe you could say Bullander was that. I'd humor that argument. Yeah, sure. I thought that was an interesting point to stop on and just be like, is that true? Is it? Like new, I guess is also. But even then, like he played CYB new, which like on the spectrum of news is definitely the new that's on the more reactive side. Like you're trying to fatigue instead. But like by nature, new is just a deck that bullies and dictates the pace of the match. Like it's just what that deck does. It's not like Hamilton specifically built it that way. If anything, he tried straying away from that. I don't know if his Oldham deck ever was like that. I never really looked at that. Did Hamilton play anything else? I know he played Chain at PT. That's just Chain being Chain. What else has he played? Oh, he played Lexi. Like the decks. I think it's unfair to say the decks that just like that is the only mode that deck plays says that Hamilton is doing the thing. I think that's like the type of comment where you're saying that you built the deck in a way to do that where that might not be necessarily what the deck is supposed to be doing. Like Redline Dromai or something like that, where you're like, yeah, I'm dictating the pace as Dromai by punching my opponent in the mouth. And it's not like necessarily what Dromai is supposed to do. Like, I chose to build it in that way. Anyways.
For longer games, right? He was obviously a prolific Oldham player during that period of time. Sawbones, yeah. I mean, you have to target it first.
Yeah, every time someone attacks into a Sawbones and it doesn't get activated in response when an opponent is playing Flick Knives is just fucking crazy to me. Like, surely that is correct. What if he was trying to play a re-equip card there? Like, surely he flicks, right?
Need to deal with it. Okay, Mark of the Black Widow here to follow up that pain in the backside.
Gonna call out the equipment suite over on Connor Leverton's side. Not only
Unless I'm just retarded and they can't flick on allies, and that's just like not a legal game action. I don't know why I scrolled all the way to the top for this, but we're doing it. Yeah, Flick Knives is even worded in a way where it works because it's not the defending hero or any weird wording like that. It's to target hero. So like you should just always be flick sawbonesing when your opponent's playing flick.
Is it Black Tech Whisper is kind of a unique choice, but also has it nicely slabbed up there, ready to go.
Crown of Providence here for the Slippy. Not super surprising, but we're obviously seeing like Mask of Addition, and of course with the Marionette, we've seen that Mask of Deceit brought in. There was a time where some Slippies were actually trying Mask of Deceit because they could, become an agent of chaos, with that equipment. Didn't quite take though.
It's just like an anti-mirror
For
effect.
Hamilton, also Crown of Providence
Blocking
in the
with
head
Bonk
slot.
is
Early on, we were
crazy.
seeing a lot of Crown of
What?
Dominion, but it feels to have fallen by the wayside. I've seen some Balance of Justice as well from Gravy Bones here this weekend.
Yeah, also the Regicide tech coming out of some of these Arachne decks is
A little
actually
scary,
relevant.
yeah.
Against Syndra and these decks that want to run Crown of Dominion. it's a little frightening.
You can punish them pretty hard. I've actually seen it happen. I wondered if I would, leave this mortal coil without ever having seen.
It's a yellow. We don't even guarantee to have a blue here. Yeah, I guess Conk is the only thing that like really makes sense. Oh, that just sucks. Because like I kind of want to go like Gravy Bones, discard, Dead Threads, Tipple. No, that doesn't make any sense because then we don't have the ally in our hand anymore.
A Regicide victory, but yeah, they're real. They happen now.
I think I saw Tautau actually beat a Syndra with it not so long ago. Watch out, Fang players. You're not immune from that either. Gold baited hook here, of course, is free, given that golden tipple will be generating a gold token. Hamilton up to 2. There's a Chum and a Rigor Mortis, so a lot of those really premium allies in terms of presenting legitimate damage threats, and also Chum's ability to redirect that damage.
I suppose
back
he's hooking
towards
that
him is
because he doesn't
important.
know if he's going to
I
attack again
guess
this
this looks
turn.
through the cracks that
If
does
he
want to play an
draws like
up-tempo style of
a
game.
red or something, then he doesn't play another ally potentially.
Hamilton is
He needs to
such
draw
a great
blue.
guy, such a good sport. Same with, I would say, maybe his lone peer, Pablo Pintor. These guys won't play into this rivalry whatsoever.
No, they
every
just
time
refuse.
I egg them on, they just won't engage with it, and they are friends. But I think it does matter to Michael. I think as soon as you've established yourself as somebody who people call the GOAT, you don't want anyone coming after that slot. And there has been some, I think, very fair consideration. Does Pablo Pintor really earn that moniker at this point? Michael Hamilton looking to go ahead and maybe close the door on that particular discussion.
So he had
look,
the tip in his hand, so he was just looking
this
for
guy
another
is
pitch
so
card.
decorated with results. Obviously,
Makes
we
sense.
talked about that
He
battle.
has 3 gold. He can give it up there.
Memphis,
I like this play.
And calling Chicago as well last December.
Eliminated my brother from top 8 contention in that particular calling in Memphis. They played round 14 in a win-in. Hamilton beat him and then went on to win the entire tournament.
All right.
So enemy of the family.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
I like that there. When
Calling in Memphis. They
I don't know if
played
you guys saw that.
round
Look at Hamilton.
14 in a win-in.
Watch.
Hamilton beat him and then went on to win the entire tournament.
It's also like he's probably trying to size him up. He's like, look at the death stare between them right now. It's hilarious.
All right.
So enemy of the family.
Yeah, sure. Okay. So a grudge, to be sure. So the Trump is on the board, and
It's unclear if, these Bonds of Agony, of course, likely headed at face here for Hamilton.
Yeah.
And look, a lot of this information is pretty available to
POV,
Howard.
you have a
Knows
chum on
that
board,
the
but your
attack on
opponent goes face
reactions are
instead.
Probably there for Connor. He's got 2 in his equipment suite.
I love seeing Hamilton's head go to his hand as soon as Bonds of Agony is on the table. That is most people's reaction. I understand, Michael. Tough card to account for. You overblock, sometimes the turn just continues, and that's maybe the biggest threat.
And he's got the B react there at least.
And sometimes, but if you underblock, sometimes your hand gets stripped from you, and obviously some key cards can be plucked out of your deck. So it is one of the hardest cards, I think, in Flesh and Blood to block adequately. There's a lot of tools interactively that will punish the block, that will punish the no block.
Damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Like, I mean, just to nick Tarantula Toxin, those are insane cards.
We're going to reach for the gold-baited hook here. A little bit of free block.
Blood on...
Is there an ally on top so we can cover...
I'm not sure if that is in the hand here for Michael. We can have a closer look, but Avasti going to be combined with his gold-baited hook. Michael's basically saying...
I like this. This
you need to
basically
find,
says...
an attack reaction that
real
confers some extra
reactions.
power to this attack. And bam, bam, bam. How about that? Quick as you like.
Not a problem.
Hunter's Clave flicked. That is going to be 3 attack reactions activated, which will, of course, be pumping up this Bonds. Go again, of course, because of the black text. You're marked because you took a Clave hit. And bada bing. Quick as you like, we're up to 7. There is a Blood in the Water in the hand.
Is that a cold foil mark? I haven't seen one of those
has
before.
The out here.
Hamilton holding the reaction, happy to slam it down here. Gets the buff as well with an Oyston, an ally that I've seen move in and out of these Gravy Bones lists.
Yeah, obviously,
Got him.
It's a tough proposition, I guess. You don't want to give the Gravy Bones the gold. It presents a pretty unattractive attack target. Much as like Chum, rather, with that 6 health body. Or anything that involves Sawbones.
The Oys is just also good in
Once you get
matchups
Sawbones
that
and Chun developed, like you're in very.
you want to play small hands into sometimes.
10 now is Hamilton on that particular attack, and that means that Connor Leverton's going to have to abandon the Bonds line and go ahead and clean
Bro,
up
this is
that
sick.
Chum.
We lost 2 cards that turn and took no damage, and now it's 39-27. This is like exactly where I want to be in the matchup.
I would say a good win there for Michael Hamilton.
We have 2 allies, right? It's like a rigor mortis
Covers
under
up
that.
the first Bonds of the game.
It's hard to clear that 6 health efficiently for like a lot of decks, especially with the prevalence of like these arachnid builds. Sometimes you have to send multiple of those stealth attacks in, just like we saw there. It's like it was an infiltrate to follow up to pick up the point. Not really relevant text on those cards. It's really a matter of just trying to get rid of the ally. Now, Gold Kiss Rum on the table for Michael Hamilton. Always indicates that kind of power turn where you can get a couple of allies on board. I don't know if Rigor Mortis and Oyston is the combo that Hamilton is looking to send out there, but there's another Chum in the hand, and, well, likely to find its way to the bin
so that he can
easily
play
enough.
guys. Yeah.
First step, though, is Hamilton needs to go ahead and turn on the graveyard, and that requires discarding that golden tipple, actually. So it is just going to be the Rigor Mortis on this turn. Chum pitched to go ahead and fire that one up, but still offering 6. As we mentioned time and time again with Gravy Bones, no slouch when it comes to damage output.
Yeah, like the value here is so crazy. We had a 1-card 6 on defense, and we're having a 1-card 6 on offense that also gains us 1 health. Like, that is insane. We just got like 12 value out of 2 cards. 13 value.
Again, when like these hands look a bit more awkward, if there's a gold repository, it's pretty easy for Gravy just to get himself out of that situation. That's why the tipple hit the bin. Needed a blue card, hit the graveyard in some fashion or another.
Like, we're
6 damage is still pretty compelling.
very
Look at this.
close
Connor has struggled to put a scratch on Michael Hamilton. Combination of developing those allies
to the danger
really
zone
buffer
of
the
he
life
just
total, and also
doesn't have the life to
great
play with
heads-up
anymore.
Blocks. Bonds of Agony got nothing done.
on Connor's side.
There's another pain in the backside.
This has been my experience with the matchup. Just like you just like win a
Rigor
couple
Mortis,
trades with
the
them,
easiest ally for these
and then the game
Slippies
just
to go ahead
crumbles
and
away.
clean up, but really only do so efficiently when they're able to use something like a dagger to do so.
Obviously, these Hunter's Claves are cost 2 resources to to get those out, like typical assassin daggers. So
Is there a
not always
Codex
easy to swing
Arsenal?
both of them in a turn. Obviously, one of them got flicked, so it's a single Clave on the field for now.
Follow up, it is going to be Codex of Frailty here. Mitch, tell me what this does.
Okay,
please.
so Brian, who sees
Says destroy
and
target
speaks that he is
opponent's
no evil.
hat
This, of
and
course,
deal 4
is,
damage.
both players going to be able to go to their arsenal, get an attack action in there. Crucially, it's also a frailty token for Michael Hamilton, a ponder
Now
token
at this
for Connor
point-
Leverton, and just
Now at this point for Hamilton, we're probably trying to play open arsenal. So that way, if we get codexed again, we just get back the Conqueror of the High Seas. And then just like block with card and armor and throw the conch or something like that. Keep like a 1-card hand, draw off with gold, pitch a blue, play the thing.
the opportunity to reach back in towards his command and conquer and
Thanks for giving
points
me.
of disruption.
Thanks for
once
giving
more
me my
at
conch
Michael
back.
Hamilton.
Yeah, it was the Tunic turn for Connor Leverton, and that means another one of the
I
classic,
suppose just blocking
I would
it is
say,
also
Codex
reasonable.
plays. Leave no witnesses, a big one as well, but Codex of, or
Keep
excuse
the
me, Codex
helmet around
Friendly
for longer.
into Command and Conquer, really representing that apex of what Codex can do.
Sea Legs obviously creates a gold kiss run when discarded. Michael potentially leaning pretty heavily into that token.
Innovation of Michael Hamilton never stops. Playing Cracked Bauble in his gravy deck. Just so innovative and smart. Oh, actually, sorry, my mistake.
I was waiting for people to start to begin a real discussion about the value of Cracked Bauble.
Look, if Michael
Clearly
Hamilton
knows
does
something
it,
we don't.
you
One.
gotta at least give it some credence.
This is a blue, right? This turns on my
Infinity,
gravy bones.
It's representing.
It's attacking for 1. It's a blue.
Luckily, a judge issued proxy. We are opting to, after pitching that gem,
A couple of allies on top, I
as a
believe, for Hamilton.
Whaler Humperdinck and a Rigor Mortis.
Bottom, probably.
That's such an interesting but polarizing ally, I think.
Oh, yeah.
The Whaler
And
Humperdinck.
Whalers coming in and out of these decks for sure. I heard some people starting to talk about cutting Whalers, but you really do have a bit of a weakness if you don't keep Whaler in your list in terms of damage output. It's possible for some decks that cannot fatigue you as long as you have access to Whaler to start thinking about fatiguing you, including things like the Assassins. So Hamilton still packing that big Whaler Humperdinck here for probably not this matchup specifically, but you do see it makes the deck still.
Draw off
So
with
the gold
gold, then
tipple.
compass.
Having
I'm
its
assuming
attack
he
power reduced
missed.
because of the frailty token that Michael is afflicted by. That is the Codex of Frailty result from the previous turn. Came from Arsenal. So, looking towards the top, presumably the opt must have sent both cards to the bottom.
Yes, it did.
Or at least one of them,
What
and
is
one
it,
drawn
red
off
swell?
the golden tipple.
He
Excuse me.
dropped both. Both allies went to the bin.
Because if it was a
Okay.
blue swell, wouldn't
Excuse
you
me,
just...
to the bottom of the deck?
And a Gravy Bones activation. Digging just a little bit further. We are
If it was a
plumbing
blue
the
swell,
depths, and
wouldn't you
it's
just play it
Swabby
there?
drawn up.
Yeah, it's a red swell. Makes
Yep,
sense.
Swiftwater Swell in the hand. God, it's kind of everything here. This is promising to actually be a pretty wide turn. Murderous Rabble here, getting full
We can
power.
actually go
3
Dead Threads, play the swell, and then just play the one of the allies. That's pretty sick.
go again. Tarantula Toxin, the stuff of nightmares. My literal sleep paralysis demon.
I did
Committed on
not know
blocks this
Tarantula
time
Toxin
around.
had an EA. What is that from?
Dead Threads
That's not from the
activation
pack, is
allows
it?
for Swell to come out. Pitching the top card of a deck, which we know what it is. Chart the High Seas. Giving some extra resources to Michael.
A negative
Not
3
a
for
bad turn.
3.
Not a bad
That's
turn.
crazy.
Yellow Golden Tipple, Murderous Rabble, Saltwater Swell, presumably into an ally.
Pretty good. Pretty good setup from Hamilton. We'll end the turn with an ally certainly doing its thing.
And we got gold. We
Not
got
quite sure what
allies.
the
We still have
option
all of our
range
armor.
is right
We've got
now. I
an
know
over
it's an
10-point lead.
Oyston and a Swabby at least, but I'm thinking he'll.
I think the only way that we lose this
attacking
game
on
is
this
to
turn.
like get our hand chained for
just
multiple
a
rounds at this
nick.
point, which I think is the only way that you lose this
Put on
matchup.
block
Period.
duty. There's a Save a Bloodshed in hand with Michael Hamilton currently marked.
Another Sawbone's going to be the ally that joins the fray here. Has the perfect resource spread to go ahead and attack for 6.
Man.
Does Hamilton.
That is a very powerful turn.
And Connor has to take this and falls down to just 17 already.
15 damage turn. 3 attack actions and an ally swing. Still holding onto the Gold Kiss Rum. Still a gold in reserve. He's kind of got it all right now, and Connor's just been taking this damage. Eventually, you just can't keep giving Michael cards. The Save a Bloodshed converts much better on the attack side, giving a +4, and saying the next time you hit a marked hero with a dagger, draw a card. Looking
To demand some action here from Hamilton. this 5 damage plus a card being represented. Of course, turn not over. Expect something in the arsenal that will allow Connor to go ahead and clean out.
It's a classic
That
gravy.
power
I
hit
just don't
right
think I
there.
give a shit. I'm at
Does everything he needs
35.
it to,
Go
that
ahead
one.
and draw a fucking card. I don't
Blue
care.
tipple.
Like
Couple
at
of
this
allies, though,
point,
so the blocking
if it's just vanilla damage,
a little
I
trickier.
couldn't
this
possibly
turn.
care.
Sawbones and Swabby in the
I
head.
don't want to fight over that.
At some point, Michael knows he's going to have to take some of this damage. Okay, so just mitigating some of
That's
that.
reasonable. Like surely the Sawbones
Getting the
dies.
value out of Sawbones while you can.
Yeah, normally players will attack into Sawbones if untapped with that extra power. Obviously, you can't risk being blown out by an activation. So Hamilton knows this may as well make use of that ability, this damage coming in, just to virtually gain a life. Connor, though, able to replace that Save a Bloodshed with a card drawn off of it.
I think Art of Desire was the draw here for Connor. Yeah, he's going to send 3 face. Still expecting that arsenal to be the thing that ultimately deals with the Sawbones.
That I might block. Basically, we know there's not a reaction here because this play doesn't make sense if this is a reaction. Like this is an attack to kill the Sawbones for sure. So I think you can like safely block this, knowing there's no funny business. I don't want to block the dagger though, because I can just like block the dagger. If I block the dagger, well, hey, it's a lot to block. 5. That's not trivial. Like putting a card in front of 3 is less trivial. But if I block the dagger, then he'll just flick the dagger on the next chain link potentially, and then still draw the card if he wants to. I just don't want to play that game with my opponent.
And for Hamilton once more. This is the
Especially when it's just
characteristic
vanilla
pose when
damage,
he
who cares?
hasn't quite figured
This actually
out
has an on
everything
hit.
yet. He'll get there. Don't worry, folks.
And that
He's doing
art
a little
of
catch up.
Yeah, the Art of Desire body, rather. Allowing to sort of draw a card. This is why, like, we see
I think
like
the worry
Mask
here
of
would be
Addition make
it's a
way into
codex
list here
behind
because
this.
It threatens a potential second card draw, but against a
And then he
blue
just
heavy deck
kills our arsenal.
like this Gravy Bones, not as attractive a prospect. And it was a sunken treasure, so no hit off that, just a stealth attack with Go again into a Codex of Frailty.
Hamilton
Response here.
thinking about going ahead and responding. Probably something like a Gravy activation.
We're gonna look at your graveyard as well. We have this. We have 1 floating, Tunic's not up.
Yeah, what is he getting? Just something to kill the Sawbones?
Just gathering a bit of information
just
as
grab a
Hamilton
conquer,
before he
right?
has to make his decision here. We talk about micro decisions all the time. Each one separates a Pro Tour champion from a Pro Tour top 16, top 32 finish. Nothing to scoff at, to be sure.
But it does feel like there is a chasm between those.
Oh, we get to discard
There's
an ally for
strata
free.
of play.
This is sick. This is a great codex
Hamilton
for
has
us.
Been there more
Convert
times than almost any other
Swabby
player.
into Conk.
Career in Flesh and Blood.
This is an
Spanning
absolute
back
victory.
to
Oh, he does have a lead
2021,
no
his first
witnesses.
result, a
Okay, whatever.
third-place
We just get a
finish,
conk,
calling
and then
Cincinnati, and then immediately winning,
if he
calling
wants to-
Orlando and Indianapolis.
Yep. Changed the game at calling Orlando.
If he wants to
dominated merit.
go Arsenal,
Meta
maybe we go
played old him.
helmet
Hero
mode.
that really wasn't on anyone's radar. Change that meta.
Leave no witnesses the target here off the Codex of Frailty. Crown of Providence, just to sink away that arsenal. Allow Hamilton to draw another card. He drew a sunken
Okay,
treasure.
whatever.
by the
We
way.
still have Sawbones.
That'll
this is
leave him
fine.
with a pretty large grip of cards. The banish was a portside exchange, of course. Not a lot of reds to be banishing.
And he's
here.
running out of time to
a couple
like
of those effects.
hit us again, basically.
Art
And
of
we
Body
have not
Desire as
burned
well,
that many
but,
allies.
I
We're
think that
down, what,
was
3
super
allies?
relevant
So,
here.
like, I don't think we're at any risk of getting fatigued.
Gold baited hook, because Golden Tipple is going to guarantee a gold generation.
Yeah, with that Sawbones tap down, Connor was able to take some time off and actually start pressuring Hamilton's life total, but there's still a lot of work to be done, only at 26 thus far.
And the disruption from Connor's corner hasn't quite been there.
Just hasn't been there at all.
Yeah.
It's really beyond a little bit of Arsenal pressure. It has just been non-existent, and Slippy has to fight on both those axes. It can feel like in the moment, Slippy's damage numbers are obscene. They really aren't. It's just that he has unpredictable spikes and the disruption. And you have to combine both those things to really hit the power apex of this hero.
Yeah.
Not surprised that he's playing this.
Yeah, like you mentioned, some Arsenal
He played
pressure.
Enigma.
Command and
He
Conquer
likes
really
his
asks for a 2-card
defensive
block.
value
We saw
decks.
what happened there with the Leave No Witnesses.
I mean, this isn't a
Michael
defensive
Hamilton's
value deck,
direction.
but
He's
it's
not too bothered about that at all.
Just like a grindy value deck. He likes his
Murderous
grindy
Rabble for
value
3.
decks.
So we've gotten through the starters.
It's
of this
basically
Gravy
all he
Bones turn.
plays.
Both of our competitors here at 9 and 2. Very much.
I think
right at the
Chain
top
is the
eight.
only thing. Chain and Lexi are the only two things that I think I've seen him play that aren't grindy value decks.
Connor now contemplating the block of this Murderous Rabble. Spike with Blood Rot put in front. Yep, pretty straightforward stuff here. Dead Threads activation. Sawbones gets out and then gets sideways.
How is it
Double
every game I
Sawbones
watch him
on
play,
this
he
next
somehow
turn.
has
That
two
can actually make
Sawbones
things
in
a little
play?
bit awkward for Connor Leverton if Hamilton wants to go ahead and try and protect a Sawbones and demand a little bit more focus on one of them.
The math is very weird. I've obviously mentioned you to send 4 at either one of the Sawbones you're going after.
Wait, maybe the spice for new. Stay with me here. Maybe I'm cooking. Maybe the spice is you play snatches in your deck. Not new. Slippy. You play snatches. So, no, that doesn't make any sense because you have a ponder token. God, is there any on hit that you could have into an ally for Slippy that is reasonable off of Codex? Is there anything? All I can think of is Snatch, but that's kind of redundant with the Ponder token.
And again, that's the value proposition here with these allies, not only with varying sort of health totals, but the ability to prevent that damage. You need to be able to clear these allies efficiently and put some pressure on the Gravy's hand. And sometimes these awkward breakpoints, you know, in terms of the ally health or damage prevention, I mean, you can't actually do that. You might clear the board and then leave the Gravy with another 5-card hand and let him just do it again.
For the time being, though, Connor Leverton looking for some damage here.
I
Going
don't
after face with
know
this
if I give a
infect.
shit about this.
It is a stealth attack, which means
Again,
that
I don't think I block.
something like this would be online. Razor's Edge. Is
I'm
gonna
at
be able to pump this up
26
to
and it's
6.
just damage. I don't care. I would like to block whatever's
Now it
behind
means
this.
Hamilton will be suffering a Blood Rot Pox token.
Like, I don't think
Definitely
we
the
ever
kind of
lose
gear
this
that,
game
you know,
because of
you
our
shift
life total
into when
getting
you're trying
reduced to
close the
0 at
life
this point.
deficit a little bit. And yeah, there it is. 4 power has to be sent at one of these Sawbones. There's
I
nothing
think like
for
activating
it but
both
to clear these
Sawbones
guys out.
on the
Hamilton is gonna
infect
keep the second
is maybe
Sawbones
reasonable.
around, though. Has to deal with the Blood Rot Pox on this particular turn.
But like, surely we
Connor
win this
Leverton
game if both
somehow
Sawbones
representing
stay
that
in play.
classic
You know,
combination of Team Blue Pitch and Death Row Records. Not the crossover I thought I would see today.
The Blue Pitch jacket is very swag, though. I won't lie.
I may have one,
enjoy it.
Mitch. I may have
It doesn't shock me.
a gift from Team Blue Pitch. Appreciate those guys a lot. Appreciate all they bring to the game.
this seems like a Gold Kiss turn to me.
Michael Hamilton.
Play like another guy, Gold Kiss, swing both
Broadside
guys.
Exchange began the turn for him. Murderous Rabble sees a blue. And everything is coming up Millhouse. This is a 3 power.
And then opponent's just in range for the
Condition
guy
of
to
a blue in
anything.
the
And we
graveyard
might just like
has been
win because
satisfied
we have
for
Humperdinck in our
Michael
deck
Hamilton
as a
this
one-off.
And as we can see, multiple swabbies, another Rigor Mortis, and Oyston, I think, in the yard. All allies that Michael Hamilton will have access
Maybe
to.
play the other tip, the Barkeep, just to have another Gold Kiss for
spike
next turn.
with Blood Rot has to get on defense duty.
Connor Leverton been very content to play smaller hands this game, Mitch. Just a little bit of chip blocking, I would say, and then comes back with the smaller grip. And you know, if you're Connor Leverton, you've played this matchup a ton. You probably brought Slippy because you loved your Gravy matchup. However, when you run into the super teams Gravy list, we've seen a few times in our feature match area, all these well-laid plans have started to dissolve a little bit. And we saw Pablo Pintor run over a Syndra in our
He says it a
feature
few
match
times, but it was
area,
only one
playing
game
in a
before
somewhat
this.
unorthodox
Like,
fashion.
this is literally
For
the
Michael
second
Hamilton thus far this
game on stream.
I don't
Gravy.
really think I've seen him do anything I would say is uncharacteristic of a typical Gravy Bones. Maybe the list, though, just has a little bit more of an ally focus than I've seen in some recent lists.
Nope.
And I'm seeing that
They
pay
literally have
dividends
less
here
allies
thus
than
far
normal.
in terms of damage output.
I do think the failure states against like Arachne or Assassins in general is how you do approach that Bonds of Agony turn. I think Michael had the answers.
It's just how they're
responded
navigating
to
the
it,
games
you know,
are different.
Basically,
Like their
perfectly.
game plans are better.
You know, did not believe that it would be a bluff. So it wasn't an overblock, and having a defense reaction in hand meant that couldn't really overblock. Could have gone either way for him.
Connor Leverton remains on cleanup duty one more time, sending a couple of stealth attacks
see what I mean? Like,
after this allied army.
Bro played
But look at this life total
functionally
difference,
2
Mitch.
snatches
Connor
hitting
at
our
just
allies and
4,
getting no
Hamilton
on-hit.
at 21 now, and still with
This is what I was talking about earlier about
graveyard
us eating
full of allies.
on hits that
now,
were
there is
like
a
meant
world
for
in which
face,
Connor
so we get a
Leverton
lot of
just
implied
plays
value.
defensive,
Like
burns
those
through
hitting our
all of
allies
these
instead
allies and makes
functionally
Hamilton
denied our
find maybe
opponent
those
drawing
last
2
gasp
cards.
allies. But I'm concerned that something like the Whaler, even if Connor is able to go ahead and execute
And now that our
strategy,
opponent's really low,
even just a one of
I think
Whaler
it's
can
fine
really
to
throw a
play
wrench into that kind of
low
plan.
health allies
This is
because
often
he can't ignore
what
them.
can happen up against Gravy Bones. The amount of
He has
damage
to
you
block.
have to take
And then it's the same
in
thing.
order
Like,
to
okay,
just
what he
clear
daggered it, but
these allies off the
whatever.
board and put some threat in front of
We're
your
not getting
Gravy Bones
punched in the
opponent.
face. He had to
Connor
block.
pretty easily blocked out by Michael if that's ever the tact he wants to take. And we have so much gold to buy through. Tipple, Portside Exchange, Call to the Grave. We are going to keep digging. Why not? Connor, yeah, sees the writing on the wall here. His opponent is off to the casino.
I don't know. You don't know. I'll find out in a second.
We'll find out. Oh,
The golden tipple
Scooby-Doo.
of the red variety.
Nova and Pudding, they're like consistent. Yeah.
Oops.
Adjust it. In the dry points of build, kids noticing identical technical.
I don't know.
Find the art. Scuba in the mix. What a diverse array of allies we're seeing from Hamilton
Tip the
here.
Barkeep's still in the arsenal, right?
And
Again, putting cards back into the deck, like it's
things like this are starting to speak to me because it's telling me they have a plan for everything.
Yes.
You try and fatigue me, I know what I'm doing against you. You come aggro, you're not going to beat me. You're not going to be fast enough. And I think that is
That
exactly
being said, we haven't
what we're
seen a
seeing
prismatic
here.
ley line
Hamilton actually has
this
all
game.
the angles
So I
covered,
wonder
it looks like,
if it's
with
not
things
for
like the
this,
Scuba, with the
if it's
Whaler.
not for
One of
Syndra,
allies are a big
what
deal.
is it for?
And I'm not surprised as players have
Is it
learned
just for
Gravy
like
Bones more and more. They're
giga hard
leaning a
fatigue
bit more
decks
in
that
this
can never
direction.
beat you?
And
That
now
is
the
a good
big
card.
ship shows up. Time for Conqueror to do its thing in our feature match area.
I like big boats, and I cannot lie. That is Connor again, just having to get in front of this. And again, he's asking the question: at what point do I actually get to kick my cards and go for it? The answer is you don't. At this point,
I don't think you
you're
do.
in the blender.
Things are just going too well for Michael Hamilton right now.
Sick thing too
Fading
here
that
is if you
Bonds
did play the
moment was
Scoob,
quite an important inflection.
very
point
few things that
in
actually
this
kill
game.
Scoob on a 1-card hand.
Connor might just be dead.
There's still 2 cards here for Hamilton.
I just thought a blue and a death threads made 5 resources for Swabby, which is not how that works.
That is not how mathematics works, Professor Hamilton.
I guess in this case, I will compass and see if there is a blue on. Wait, what?
Looks
Okay,
like the turn is about to change a little bit here.
Played red tipple.
I love that he's sort of, definitely speaking through his thought process to his opponent here. Okay,
I get
bailed
it.
out. He
Deck's
said bail
complicated,
on
so sometimes talking out loud I think
top.
makes sense.
Never punished. Conqueror. So the follow-up here is the
Reduce
gold
the mental load.
crack.
I don't care if you know what I'm doing.
Michael
You're dead.
using his compass just to check, make sure it was a blue. He wants to deploy Swabby. Wanted to. Gold kiss rum. Typic bar kick, kind of saying, "You're gonna offer me some of that as well?" Absolutely not, mate.
Yeah, now we have all the resources we need to go ahead
There
and
it is.
deploy the Swabby.
Yep, kind of went as I expected. Yeah, so it must just be for like Giga Hard Fatigue or something like Jarl, some horseshit deck. Which begs the question: if it's just for Giga Fatigue, would it not be better to just play like more Humperdinks or something? It's kind of unfortunate that we didn't get to see like any of the games on stream that they play that card for, so we never like got to see the strength of it.
Let's see where the outcomes. And right off the bat, we see a unique leg piece in the.
And this one's kind of interesting because both of these guys are in the top 8. So we get to see like potentially what could have been another top 8 game. But they
Gravy
didn't face
Bones
each other.
leg slot over here in the form of the quick dodge
And then
flexes.
Arthur, his list was, I think, slightly different. I believe he was also on the super team. Hop? What's Hop? Oh, Limpet? Yeah, so he's on the Crown of Dominion, but he wasn't on Crown of Providence. He's got the one Blanche. He's got the one Fiddlers. Got 2 Bloods. This looks very similar to Pablo's list. Is Hamilton's actually different? I thought Hamilton's was different. Yeah, no Blanche, but he's got the one Fiddlers. No Arcane. One Whaler.
In most matchups, Gravy Bones enjoys the Mage Master boots to resolve those multiple ally turns. However, against Syndra, it seems Arthur Trey has chosen for the more defensive leg piece with the quick dodge flexes, also the more defensive head piece with the balance of justice as well, instead of the Crown of Dominion.
First action, Bram with Cinderclaw. I think you heard Nathaniel at the start of this game.
I will
ask how many
say,
allies in your hand.
The games was with Shiryu. Those are the best games that I have seen with Limpet. Like he made Limpet look better than anyone else that I've watched so far. In the games I've played and the games that I've watched, it just has not been impressive. He made it look impressive. But that was, again, it really wasn't the Limpet that was impressive. It was how he used his Gold Kiss rums and his action points was impressive. He made that shit look good.
Facetiously on this turn 0. This is going to buy a block from the Avasti on the Bram with Cinderclaw.
And unfortunately for Nathaniel, I believe Arthur Trey actually has 0 allies in his opening hand over here. Fire Tenant strike first, hits a combat chain. It is Draconic thanks to Brand with Cinderclaw.
It's going to be the block here. Looks like it's the port side exchange coming out. Taking care of this Fire Tenant strike first. Flick knocks over. Keeps the chain alive. Down to 39 goes Gravy Bones.
And the next attack, if it is Draconic, will get +1 thanks to Fire Tenant strike first. Which could make it an awkward breakpoint for Arthur Trey to block.
You also have to wonder if Nathaniel's expecting to get these daggers back. Currently at the 2 chain links thanks to the Brand with Cinderclaw, so that will make things a whole lot easier.
Please, no more. 2 allies. 2 allies.
Asking for 2 allies from Arthur Trey. Display loyalty as a field, and that will generate the first fealty token, which shouldn't go unnoticed over here. Typically, a fealty token can unlock
2 allies
quite a few
one
Syndra
time.
play lines. It can totally unbrick a hand that has no Draconic starters, or it can turn on some additional effects like Art of Dragon Fire.
Nathaniel just absolutely despondent that there are no allies in the hand. Does he keep a card from Arsenal or does he keep testing it? No, he's sending 5 here, and this threatens not only damage, but this is a Mask of Momentum live draw.
So Arthur Trey is going to be.
What did I say that won you over on
the balance
Winston?
of justice defensive here on turn 0 to deny a card draw from Mask of Momentum, and Nathaniel quite upset that there were no allies in Arthur Trey's hand there.
4 allies.
Once again, Nathaniel just asking for 4 allies off the top. Nathaniel's got to be careful of what he asks for. This Gravy Bones deck quite enjoys it when enough allies are coming out of the graveyard. Perhaps Arthur would not like them to be in the hand here.
Also, you just love to hear the camaraderie between these players. Here at round 13 in World Tour Singapore, both players at Exit 2 fighting for their top 8 lives, still able to laugh it out, still able to enjoy this great game of Flesh and Blood. Starting off with the activation of the gold-baited hook over here, which signals perhaps a Golden Tipple, and that's exactly it from Arthur Trey. Golden Tipple hits a combat chain, discarding Rigor Mortis. That is the ally that Nathaniel was hoping Arthur Trey had in his opening hand.
But of all the allies that Nathaniel might have to stare down, Rigor Mortis is about the easiest one to deal with thanks to these kunais.
So on
you say that, but it's not like
on this Golden Tipple,
you're sitting there as
activation of
Syndra
the
going,
gold-baited
oh
hook.
boy, I get to pitch cards to
Currently,
kunais.
no blue has been
Like,
played from Arthur Trey's
you
side,
play
so Rigor Mortis
almost
not
no
going
pitch
to be
cards in
available
your deck.
for
You're not pitching
now.
a goddamn red to kunai.
Is holding a Call to the Grave, however,
actually
so
that good.
might go ahead and deploy that. And find yet another
Like
ally.
the one health
join the
allies
rigor
are like
mortis in the
quietly
graveyard.
good in this matchup. They basically only ever efficiently get cleared when they have a
Comes activation.
Ignite.
He is
I think
holding a
is the name of the card.
Saltwater Swell, so if that's a blue, we might see that card hit the combat chain.
Saltwater Swell played here. 3. Grabs
So
the call to the grave.
it's more than just
4
they
floating,
don't
3
want
go
to
again.
clear him against a lot of the aggro decks. So it's one, they might not want to clear him. 2, against the aggro decks, you typically struggle with your gold economy. 3, against the aggro decks, you're sometimes looking to play smaller hands because you had to block. So it gives you like a small hand play that you can do where you just be like rabble into Oyston swing, and that was a 1-card 7 functionally. Like that was really good. And sometimes they ignore him. It's hard to know if they're going to ignore him. But it just being like incredibly efficient on a small hand is really good. Because if they ignore him, it's just a free hammer.
Belittle that blocks 3.
I know you already
That's
know
what
that, but
Saltwater Swell is 4 floating for Arthur Trey, and thanks to the 2 gold that he has right now, does even have an outlet for those resources should he want them. Still no blue has been played yet, but he's holding on to yet another Call to the Grave. So that could be the blue he plays, or he could just go ahead and pop the gold. Looks like he will play the Call to the Grave, will find an ally, has 4 resources floating, perhaps could find a chum, friendly first mate, to go ahead and join the rigor mortis, and with the 4 floating, could play the chum out immediately. Swabby going to be the pick for Arthur Trahe over here. It costs 5 resources total to play out the Swabby and attack with it, but thanks to Dead Threads, which is being activated right now, he has the 5 floating, can put out this massive ally and attack for a whopping 7. Nathaniel already down to 27 on Arthur Trahe's first 4-card hand, and there's a Swabby on the field as well.
You may just shuffle again.
I tell the producer.
Yeah.
Players here
Yeah, I'm actually wondering if going
having some
second in this
fun
matchup
at the
is
top
actually better.
tables of the Pro Tour in Singapore, which is what you love to see. Flesh and Blood community stays on top.
Noah was talking about that before, and I don't know if that's true or not.
So
that
in
was just like
terms
a
of
theory he
turn
had.
Cycle
But I think there's like
Arthur
validity
Trahe dealt
to it.
13 damage and put a 3 health ally on the field, so that kind of effectively makes his turn cycle a 16-point.
I'm also like a big fan of one of allies in the deck, so you have a bit of a toolbox functionality with Call of the Grave.
Bones deck to match Syndra's aggression.
Again, another good small hand play.
Going to strike into Swabby and take care of
Like
it.
you really don't have any other small hand plays with Call. You need a pitch card for your other Call of the Grave plays. What's the dumb Pro Tour rule about not being able to play an effect for PTs? You got to rephrase that question. I don't know what you're asking.
In reactions, while attacking, the throw dagger is going to come forth. There's no shelter from the storm, so a card going to be drawn here. Dagger flies across.
Interesting choice to start by attacking the Swabby as well, especially if you're also going to throw dagger, because throw dagger allows you to, in a sense, maintain the chain links hitting, which you want to do for Mask of Momentum. So that tells us perhaps Nathaniel plans to send more breakpoints Arthur Trahe's way.
And the vest able to resolve after the card is drawn because it's on the hit. Both of the triggers are on the hit. You stack the triggers, let the card be drawn, then let the blood.
I think you are mistaken on what is going on. If you want the rundown of whatever that rule thing was, go to go to this stream. And just watch the beginning of it. I have a rant. I explain what the rules change is and have a rant about why I don't like it. But if all you care about is what is the rules change, I go over that in the beginning of that video. The short version is if you win a pro quest, you can no longer play any more pro quests.
If you want to get that resource.
That season. Not Pro Tour. Big difference.
Resource
So
going
that
to
has
be
been a
actually just
meme.
filtered into the kunai here.
Yeah,
2 from the Fire
Brody,
Tenant.
you've won too many Battle Hardens. You need
Which
to save some
means
for the rest of
since
us,
this
so you're
dagger
no
is the one
longer
that's
allowed to go to
attacking,
battle
Arthur Trey
hardens.
might be able to just block this a little bit freely, since there won't be a Flick Knives activation to maintain the Mask Momentum.
You've played the game
chain links.
and seen too
However,
much
from
of the
Arthur
world.
Trey's position, Nathaniel
We're
is
gonna have
holding
to
on
ask you to
3
stop.
cards. So he could be worried that if he blocks this kunai, he will need to block
It's
again.
all good, dude. I'm not
once the
giving you
chain
shit.
Restarts on the next attack.
You know more languages than I do. That's impressive. Like,
However, if he doesn't
knowing
block
multiple
this, then
languages
Flick Knives
means
will
you're
be
stupid smart.
available for the next chain link. So Arthur Trey already in a little bit of a bind over here. Are we perhaps going to see the activation?
Ironically, Brody already got his temporary
One thing to
timeout.
point out is that Swabby has hit the graveyard this turn from the combat chain. So Death Threads is live currently
Okay,
on the
I had.
side.
It was either I had this idea or someone I was talking to had this idea, and then I convinced myself it was my idea. So we're just gonna just chat. Give me this. Just let me say it was my idea. I had a thought for Brody of his punishment. What if instead of suspending him, you said he was you can keep playing the game. You're not suspended, but you're no longer eligible for the World Tour this year. I think that would have been an omega slap on the wrist. That would have like not actually impacted him. Like you can still play the game, but would have been a nice optics thing. While at the same time making the World Tour like functionally better. Because like for all the North American people, no one gives a fuck about the World Tour. Everyone's playing for like 3rd place. Who gives a shit? It's like, who is the system for? It's just like a system created to hand like Brody and like between Fang and Hamilton and like a couple other people money is like, and for how much they advertise it and market it, it's like I couldn't possibly care about this system. It's a cool idea, but like you're telling me that you created this whole system that I could never win. I'm literally fighting for my life over 3rd place. I don't care. They needed to do that system kind of like what they do in Pokemon, where it just checks your what's the word I'm looking for? You're like your best placement at specific events. So in this that's how you qualify for like Worlds in Pokemon. It says, "Hey, what's your best placement at these specific types of events?" And it might be like more than one of each of event. I don't remember the exact of it, but it'd be like, I don't know. Let's just say for example, we're gonna take your placement from every Pro Tour and Worlds this year. All of those. Your best placement, your best 3 placements at callings this year, and your best 3 placements at a battle hardened this year. So you can't just like infinitely grind it, and it's just if you went to literally every single battle hardened and calling, no one can compete with you if you like place decently at any number of them. It means that you can actually like spike them. So it's basically saying, hey, have a really good finish at a couple of these things, and then what really matters is how you placed at the Pro Tour and Worlds, and like a couple callings. Like now, that's actually a system people can actually compete in. It doesn't just reward whoever decides to spend the most money, because that's what it does right now. Like obviously, you have to be good at the game. Like Brody's obviously incredibly talented at the game, and the other people that are fighting for 2nd and 3rd place are obviously very talented at the game, not to take anything away from them. But it's just a system that like no one can actually like no one can look at that and go, I have a shot. This makes it so people can actually go, yeah, I could actually compete for this now.
On Nathaniel's turn, and could be used to fuel further activations of quick dodge flexes.
Okay, I gotta go back to the beginning of this turn because I was yapping too much. What happened? He went fire thing into rigor mortis. Okay, and now we're going.
So that tells resolve after
chest
the card is
into
drawn
dagger?
because it's on the hit. Both of the trigger resolve. Choose if you
What
want to
the
get
fuck?
that resource. Into the kunai here.
I mean, this is not like when I actually want to block with my boots in the matchup, but like, surely we get. So like, here's the thing: we might not actually get 4 blocks out of it. Also, that one resource shouldn't be there anymore. I don't want to use my boots unless it's a 3-0 for 2, just like whatever it was, Blade Break 2, or I'm getting 8 value out of it. Like pitch a card, do that. Maybe emergency pitch a yellow ally, but like we're probably losing that game anyways. But this does seem like a spot where we can fight over the mask, because he also can't flick this chain link. He only has the one dagger, and it's on the chain, so he can't flick it. So it is pretty reasonable to actually fight over this. But I feel like if we're committing to blocking this, we're committing to blocking with cards from hand. I don't know if the short notice thing is like that big of a deal, because they announced stuff out like far out enough where if you wanted to, you can go to enough things. I don't know about that one.
2 from the Fire Tenant.
Bro, I got a stall.
Which
of course
means,
I got a yap.
since this dagger is the one that's attacking Arthur Trahey, might be able to just block this a little bit
If
freely.
we remove the
since they're doing a
yapping,
Flick
then
Knives
this is just a
activation
watch
to
party,
maintain
and you can't do that on
mask
YouTube.
momentum chain links. However, from Arthur Trahey's position, Nathaniel is holding on to
At least
3
I think.
cards.
I don't actually know the TOS.
So he could be worried that if he blocks this kunai, he will need to block again once the chain restarts on the next attack.
We do have like a ridiculous life lead
However,
here too.
if he doesn't
so
block
like,
this, then Flick Knives will be available
just being
for
like,
the next
fuck you,
chain
here's my
links. Arthur
armor,
Trahey already in a
maybe
little bit
one
of a bind
card,
over
and
here.
then pushing his
Are we
life total
perhaps
down
going to see
more,
the activation of the quick dodge flexes?
and then like
One
maintaining
thing
like
to
a
point out
10
is that
plus
Swabi has hit
point
the
lead.
graveyard this turn.
We could
from
just
the
like
combat
hit that
chain,
stage of the
so
game
Death
where
Threads is
our
live
damage starts being
currently
relevant
on
really quickly.
on Nathaniel's turn, and could be used to fuel further activations of quick dodge
I just don't
flexes.
understand why people are doing this.
Getting
Why
the
are we
full
pitching
2
cards
value
into that
on this
when our
kunai
dead threads is on the
retribution because
table?
of the +1
Like,
from
do
Fire
that
Tenant.
first.
Display
Why are we
loyalty now
giving up
coming in.
free info?
3 makes another fealty. Flick Knives now available as
Actually, you know, that's probably wrong. Maybe it's dead threads last, because if he stops short and we will waste a resource on our blue pitch. Okay, yeah. No, I see the vision. Okay, yeah. I'm wrong. So if we do it this way, we guarantee get 6 block out of this, yeah. And like I said, we might not get the full 8 out of this. Like if he just like IPs the last card and Arsenal passes. It's not IP. He just chooses to not throw the whole hand here and just Arsenal passes. If we dead threads the first one, we waste that 1 resource, and then we go into our turn with our dead threads already tapped like an idiot. So this plays to us actually being able to use dead threads on our own turn if we want to. So we're not like wasting value there. If we can use the dead threads on our turn, it's just better to do this, and we might not necessarily know whether or not that's happening. Like we have a tipple in our hand, we have gold. We don't actually know where the turn's going yet.
well on this chain.
Okay,
link.
yeah, I'm wrong.
This is
Learn
an
something
awkward
new.
one for the quick dodge flexers.
However, the chain has already been stopped.
I think this
Since
would
the
only
kunai
make
was blocked
sense
fully. This display
if-
loyalty is the first attack that's going to hit.
Doesn't even need to use the Flick Knives here. This attack hits.
If there
through
was
the
a
quick
chance,
dodge.
all
I
I
don't think
block
he
with
has
is the
enough
dagger
go
with the
again to
boots, and
actually
I don't
touch a
plan
mask
on going
momentum
any
this turn,
further.
unless he wants to use the dragon scale of
And
flight
it's-
path
it
to give the
exactly
lava
happened.
burst
So
go
we
again.
would have looked like an idiot with my
But I
play.
believe his last card is a breaking point, so he would need to flick knife, get a resource off the blood spattered vest, and use Dragon's Clay of Fly Path to send the breaking point, which will only threaten mask because Arthur Trey does not have an arsenal.
So nice 6 points of defense from the blue and the quick dodge flexers there. Down to 33 goes Arthur Trahey. You go ahead and actually just make sure to flick that, looks like, and then activate Syndra.
Nerves. Yeah. I want to say I'm tilted. because of
Breaking point goes to the arsenal for Nathaniel. And this is the sort of value exchanges that allows Gravy to come on top in this matchup. There was a one card
imagine
block 6 effectively from Arthur
playing
Trey's
the
side.
favorite
It does
deck,
involve
and then you
the
go into
quick dodge
Gravy's turn, and
flexes.
Gravy has a
Honestly, this
life
game
lead
doesn't
before
go very
attacking.
long.
That's
Respond to
fucking
a 4-card
crazy.
16 effectively on his first turn, getting 6 points of defense on blocks over there, and now starting his turn on the golden tipple as well. This is how Gravy Bones gets to match the numbers of Syndra, Drakai of Aether.
Golden tipple, golden tipple, golden
Summoned
tipple. One in the
Exodia
pitch,
there.
one discarded, one on the combat chain. This one's coming in for 3. So much gold has been made. It looks like the Dragon Scalar Flight Path just going to get in front of this for that 1 point of block value.
Oh, is it a yellow in pitch?
Points leaking over,
Oh,
and
so
once you
it's
see
not
Dragon Scale
Exodia.
of
We
Flight
have
Path
two left arms.
blocked with on the Syndra side, you have to start thinking about Wrath of Retribution perhaps coming your way on the following turn. Dragon Scale of Flight Path, most effective
calling
use of it
finals?
is
Not
on the
yet.
Wrath of Retribution
Is that
turn to be able to
also
attack.
on their thing? Depending on how late, we can watch that too. It's this, right? Okay, we can watch this also. Well, it's 10 right now. We might have to watch that another day.
With a Kuna of Retribution once again.
Good call. I didn't know that was there.
See how Arthur wants to continue this one. He's got the life lead. Doesn't have a lot of allies.
Yeah, and the discard to the Golden Tipple was another Golden Tipple. So Dead Threads, as of this point, is not live right now on Arthur Trey's turn.
A lot of gold.
I'm happy I have your
Start
approval.
to use it as this Gravy Bones draws a card off the top.
And I just want to note one aspect of Arthur Trehay's experience on this deck. Compass hasn't been activated yet. He has drawn off of Golden Tipple. He has just drawn off of Gravy Bones as well. Compass, however, completely untapped. This is a player who knows when is the optimal time to use Compass. He's not just going to muscle
It's the hardest part of the deck, honestly, knowing when to Compass.
He gets on Nathaniel's turn. Now is the time he decides, now I need to activate the Compass of Sunken Depths.
Shane, yeah.
And Ally has hit the bin as well, thanks to Gravy Bones' activation.
We haven't played a blue yet, though, right?
Dead Threads is live at this point, I believe.
No blue to the yard yet, eh?
No blue to the yard.
No blue to the yard, so cannot play that Swabby or the Rigor Mortis.
You could Dead Threads to crack a gold. Go up to 2 floating, use that to crack a gold. Maybe
we probably
find
do that
the
if we
blue.
know
Looks
the
like that's
top
exactly
is
what he's
blue.
going to
The
do.
problem is, like,
He knows what's on top.
This isn't a blind
even
draw.
if it's a blue on top.
And there's the port side exchange. Getting rid
You
of
still
a
need a
chum,
pitch
making a
card.
gold, drawing a card. There's the starter.
However, Death Threats has already been used. So if he draws a resource card, it looks like he might be able to resolve the Rigor Mortis and attack with it. The other 2 allies, he does not have the resources to go ahead and play them out and swing with them.
So basically,
Daniel
if it's a red, we
red.
Arsenal pass. If it's not a red,
Show me a red card on top.
we Rigor Mortis. That's like
Wait and
reasonable.
see. If he reaches for that Rigor Mortis, it's going to be the blue.
I love the emoting from Nathaniel's side. It's such a pleasure to watch. Rigor Mortis coming in for
I will
6,
say
has a gold
Nathaniel's
on hit as well.
pretty
thanks to gold
entertaining
plated
to
hook.
watch.
And Arthur Trehe has made plenty of gold on this turn, so no risk of the hook going away. It's just pure upside if this Rigor Mortis lands.
We've seen the throw dagger, so Nathaniel might be
Very
on a
animated
slightly
gentleman.
higher blue count than, say, like a Pudding Tam style, truly, you know, maybe
I
a concealed
enjoy
blade, maybe
when people
not.
are animated on stream.
Rigor
That's like
Mortis
one of the
gonna
things that I
untap,
always try to
Daniel
do
down
when
to
I'm on stream, be
19.
really animated. Because I know back when I watched, like, prior to Flesh and Blood, watched a lot of streams and card game stuff for, like, Magic and other things. I always just hated when it was just, like, 2 people just being, like, just stone face all game, not expressing anything, barely talking. It's boring, you know what I mean? Like, bro, you're on stream, have a good time. Like, fucking, it's your moment. Live it up.
Hey, still sitting pretty at 32. One ally on the field, but the arena remains bereft of bigger bodies.
Bro, imagine caring
A
more
single
about
kunai can take care
winning
of
the
his
game
rigor
than being
mortis with ease.
entertaining. Not me. Couldn't possibly.
Nathaniel also wants to try and get a Mask of Momentum trigger if he can. One of the benefits of Syndra, one of the reasons to bring Syndra against Gravy Bones is the potential for free Mask of Momentum draws. However, Rigor Mortis
We
with
need quite
just
a few
the
Mask of
1
Momentum
health
draws
on it,
to
not
make
very
up this life
enticing to send a
difference.
full action card against it. So you, as you said, you might want to just send a kunai at it, but then you're sending action cards at the face, which the opponent can block and deny you your Mask of Momentum draw.
No blocks here on the brand. Rising Resentment just going to go ahead and take care. Trigger the Rising Resentment.
Does that need to hit a hero?
Gets to play a 1
Oh, and
for
banishes
free.
the...
The fuck is the name of that card? Does not need to hit a hero. I guess that makes sense.
Hunt the Hunter. That means this thing can come in for free. And we've already seen the Dragon Scalar flight path be blocked with. I think we might be seeing this thing get go again.
So not going to be used for a potential Wrath of Retribution turn. Instead, looks like it's going to be used on this Hunt the Hunter turn. Mark as well going over.
I think I just like if my hand plays here. I think I just want to play the game. Like we have a Conk and blues. Fucking send it.
Need more than that.
Kill is a dick off. Just obliterate him. Send him fucking home.
5. No go again yet.
Like we got a 10-point lead.
Conspicuous block with
Exodia obliterate.
flight path. A turn to go.
Flick Knives also hasn't been activated yet, and this is threatening the Mask of Momentum draw.
Like we're not stopping the
Flick
mask.
Knives here.
If we want to stop the mask, we're blocking with all 4 cards.
Path, it is an instant.
We're not. We're just never winning the
anything
game with that line.
Until
we
you've
should just play
gone
our
through
hand.
and you're in damage resolution. Make the resource. Take 5. Down to 23 now. In a flash goes Arthur Trehane and Gravy
I don't know
Bones.
about
You
making
can
the
even
resource
see the card
there.
you draw from Mask of Momentum.
Because like, we're making this play because we already have a 1 for 5, right? If we draw another card that is action point negative, we end up IPing here. I guess we can always just like attack with a dagger, but it's kind of dubious. It just feels like a waste of our chest. Potentially. I guess the upside's high enough. It depends on like what's left in the deck. Because he's probably only playing like 7. Or the Dragon Fire. 2 breaking points and 2 devotions. So that's 7. Don't know if he's actually playing the Spreading Flames in this matchup. So it's like 7 or 9. And he's... Oh, also the hunts. So that's probably 9 or 11. And then it's not like there's, you know, all of them left in the deck. Like there's 1 in the chain, 1 in the arsenal here. So it's like, I guess, reasonable. Like it's a probably worth the gamble.
Yeah,
before
that's
you
what I'm
activate
saying.
You probably win that
Yeah.
most of the time.
Flight path. 3 cards to work with on Nathaniel's side. We do know his arsenal is the breaking point.
Could have also
Question
just like
is, can he
blocked, though.
convert at least one of the other cards in his hand? Looks like he does have display devotion in his hand.
Yeah, demonstrate devotion.
Demonstrate devotion.
Yeah, and that you can play that with the 1 floating. There was a grimace on Arthur Trehane's side of the table when that Dragon Scalar flight path was activated. I wonder if our Pro Tour champion had that in his head when he called no blocks on the Hunt the Hunter. Yeah, now he's kind of shaking the head. Clench of the jaw, compass activated here. Let's see what he was trying to protect. A bunch of blues into Conquer the High Seas is a pretty strong hand. But all of a sudden, Nathaniel is looking to play out a full 6-card offensive hand, and Arthur Trehane has no allies to work with.
The breaking point in Nathaniel's arsenal, though, not looking very enticing right now with Arthur Trehane having been off an arsenal the past 2 turn cycles. Can Nathaniel just use his last card? Looks like he's just going to be pitching it for the breaking point, just wants to get the full 5 value from it.
You're gonna get budge value.
Oh, interesting, saying I'm not going to play the Ancestral Empowerment. Don't want to give you value on the Balance of Justice. That would have been the 2nd card drawn, and Balance of Justice would have allowed Arthur to draw a whole extra card. This breaking point is hit, though down to 14 goes Arthur Trehane. He was over 30 to start this turn. And now
I think
no
you're just not
Arsenal
supposed
for
to play
Nathaniel means that
Ancestral in this
Conqueror of the
matchup,
High
to be
Seas
honest.
is so
I
much
think
less
everyone knows
impressive.
that
Have things
Grady's
gone
on
very awry
balance in this matchup
very
now. You
quickly
just don't
for
play
our
that
Pro
card.
Tour Los Angeles champion.
It's still 8 damage, though, which is so much when the opponent's at 19. And you still have a Swabby follow-up potential to the Conqueror of the High Seas, which would make Arthur Trehane's offensive salvo, at least currently, if it's just Conqueror of the High Seas and Swabby, it's still 15 damage with a Swabby
The other thing is, like,
behind as well.
it's not like you need the tricks to actually connect with your
Trehane
mask in
is
this
trying to figure
matchup.
out
You get
how he wants
you
to
basically get
navigate
mask
his
every
turn.
turn.
He has activated Compass on Nathaniel's turn.
And if
he
anything,
knows
you're
the top
adding a
card of
brick
the
to your deck
has
because
access to it
the Ancestral is
via
usually a
Gravy
part of the
Bones'
hands that
ability,
don't
via the gold
function.
tokens on the field.
So you're
I believe he's
creating a
also
failure
holding onto a
state for
port side
yourself.
exchange. So even more
Yeah,
ways to
I
get the top
definitely
card of
wouldn't
the
play that
deck.
in this matchup.
Gravy Bones in many ways almost like a pseudo intellect 5 heroes often because of how well you can manipulate the top card of the deck, exchanging it with cards in your hand.
Pretty big turn from Nathaniel there, eh? My goodness. Laying down the burning hot fire is our Syndra player at 10-2. 3 rounds to go, this being one of them. He needs to win 2 of 3.
I think I'm actually going to call it after this game, though.
Let's take
We'll
a look
finish
at
up later.
what Arthur Trehe is thinking about. We don't know the top card of his deck. He does, though. Boardside
Yeah,
Exchange, Blue Saltwater Swell, and a Murderous Rabble. Can go ahead and draw the top card with the
Friday.
gold. If that's an ally, you can
We're not
Boardside
doing anything
Exchange
this
it away
weekend,
as
so
well.
we
Refund
can
the gold, draw another
finish up
fresh
those last
card, and
two
that would also be a
games
blue starter
this
for the
weekend,
turn.
and then
So being
do some
told
more work on
from
the
production
Google
that the way
Doc
the
and play
Breakers
some
are
games.
looking, Punkage, you're not gonna
Maybe
believe
work
it.
on
There's
some
actually a
deck
fairly
list
good
stuff.
chance that a couple X and 4s might
Talk
make
about some
it.
deck theory.
So we are potentially actually watching a win and in at this moment because of the way the Breakers might break down. There's a very good chance that the player who wins this slot, these are, the top of the standings at 10-2, the player that wins this game can lose out from here and still make the Pro Tour. So we, all of a sudden, the intensity has
the winner
gone
here
from
is
10
locked.
to 25.
The loser maybe has
Boardside
to win
Exchange.
the
I was
game.
already so excited. I'm even more excited. So Boardside Exchange, Arthur did empty his hand completely after the Conqueror. So Boardside Exchange with no card to discard just gives you a card draw, and that is the blue starter for Arthur as well. Hasn't had an ally hit the yard though, so Death Thread's not going to be available to him. But if the top card of the deck was a blue,
Yeah, but he
he
doesn't
could still
need
resolve
Death
the
Threads.
Swabby here
If he drew
and attack with it for another 7 damage.
Actually,
However, I think
what's
he's
in
trying to see
grave?
if he can
It's
do
a
something
chum,
little
a
bit more
swabby,
offensive than
and
that.
I thought there was more.
Has access to 4 gold.
It just
has
sucks if
access
he
to
drew a
Gravy
red.
Bones' hero ability as well.
This game is sick. just absolutely smacking each other around. As we see Arthur,
Assuming he doesn't have anything
try
else
to
in the bin.
close the door on Syndra. It's amazing when you see these Gravy Bones decks race well.
must have been a blue.
Swabby coming out here, another blue in the hand, 7 more damage. Nathaniel just got to take it. He's going down to 4, but has Swabby just put himself in the position to be a big, life-size, just pile of food for Syndra to put some attack actions into, feed that Mask of Momenta, and draw a juicy card.
And we spoke
it sucks
about that.
depending on
Even
what was
if
in his
Arthur
grave.
just did Conqueror into Swabby, that was still
I don't know if he has more
15
allies in
damage
grave
swing.
underneath
Off of
the
4
chum
cards
there.
with
I don't
a 3
remember.
health ally left behind as well. Time and time again, we speak about how these Gravy
Like if he has
Bones
a rigor
deck
mortis,
are able to
then
put on just
drawing
this
red is fine. You
raw
just get a good
math
arsenal.
numbers that matches the Syndra. Question is, can Nathaniel maybe punish the Swabby?
That being said, I don't know if I really
the
want an
resolution
arsenal at
of
this
the
point
Swabby
because
by
I don't
perhaps
really
getting
want to
the
block
Mask
a
of
breaking
Momentum
point at
trigger.
this stage of the game.
3 has hit now. First chain link into the Swabby. Blaze headlong now comes in for 4. Gold baited hook still an option for Arthur Trehe to block with. Handful of 3 blocks.
And another Conqueror again. If you can just do another turn like what he just did, he could potentially put Nathaniel in the position where he has to block allies like Rigor Mortis and then will no longer be able to profitably
I
clear
don't know why
them.
we're blocking this.
Flick Knives, though, gonna come in here on this Blaze Headlong chain link to keep the chain alive for the Mask of Momentum. Fealty going to
We
be
got
used
so much
for
gold
this
in play,
Art of
like
Dragon
surely we
Blood
can
as well. So 4 go again,
draw
yet another
into
break
playing
point.
the chum after the
And any
conk.
Draconic cards that Nathaniel plays, the next 3 Draconic cards that he plays on this turn will cost 1 less. He just has 1 card remaining unless Mask of Momentum draw happens.
If you give a card here, you're not playing that Conqueror. You only got the dead threads to work with.
Well, you could with gold.
Oh, with gold.
You pitch a blue into gold,
Yeah,
draw
yeah.
another blue, send the Conqueror, which would be lethal.
Let me have this. No, I'm kidding. No,
I suppose the
gold.
other thing you can do
Gold,
is
of course.
just like throw the Conqueror and then draw off of gold. If it's an ally, Gravy Bones to redraw. Anything other than that, you just Arsenal pass. And it probably buys you enough space here. The thing is, I just don't understand this block. Like, we're not stopping Mask this turn. He has both daggers. Like, are you going to block more after this? We're at 14. He's not killing us. Like, what's the worst that could happen? It's another 4 behind. He flicks here. I guess it doesn't matter if he flicks there. If we didn't block, what's the worst that happens? We're at 13. We go to 9 off of this. We go to 5 off of this. We go to 4 off of this, and then the Art of Dragon fires us. We go to, what is it, 2, and then we have to block 2 cards on this.
Of course, such an important piece of the puzzle for all of the pirate heroes.
And again, hasn't activated Compass yet. Arthur Trehe has shown the discipline with this, equipment piece. Not even a weapon, just an offhand piece. That's all Gravy Bones needs to be here in contention for top 8 at World Tour Singapore.
I mean, the saltwater swell, I feel like if you know what's on the top, if you know it's a blue or not, you can continue the turn with a little more information. The eyebrows go up for Arthur Trehey. You know, this game might end relatively soon.
Be careful about that compass. Just shows the level of expertise these top players have had on a card.
Over the top, card drawn and a damage.
Which will trigger Mask Momentum, will draw him another card. That was the worst punish for Arthur Trehey over there. Can Nathaniel convert the remaining 2 cards?
But Balance of Justice can be used. I don't think Nathaniel cares at this point. It's a fair amount more offense that can continue from here. Brown with Cinderclaw. 3 more go again.
Which will mean that thanks to Out of Dragon Blood, if the last card in the hand is 1 cost,
here.
even if it isn't Draconic, we'll get the discount from Out of Dragon Blood.
I have to wonder if Arthur Trehey had been worried about the +1. You block with a different card, try to rip a blue.
Gravy
deck. Arsenal Disruption on this team.
On his turn.
Nathaniel's just going to pass here, so that Ancestral Empowerment got a card out of the deck onto the combat chain and into the arsenal.
At least we
Nathaniel
still
saw
have
the
a good
Conqueror
preferred
block this,
hand.
so felt pretty comfortable putting a card in the arsenal, thinking he wouldn't be under threat of Arsenal Disruption on this turn. Now it's time to activate the Compass of Sunken Treasure.
Look at the top.
See what's in the hand. There's the Rigor Mortis, the Given a Quarter, and the Saltwater Swell Blue.
Is he going to get the top card of the deck with the gold activation or by activating Gravy Bones? Probably wants some way to get rid of the Rigor Mortis. Looks like it's going to be gold activation here for Arthur Trehey. Get the top card of the deck that he knows is there, but at this point, he's now flying blind. 2 allies in the hand for him. Wants to try and get rid of at least one of them. Gravy Bone's going to be activated over here, drawing a random card off the top. It's going to be the Sunken Treasure, so that is a blue. Very likely going to discard one of these allies. Has yet to play a blue this turn, so the allies in the yard currently not available to him.
There's Rigor Mortis, and now Nathaniel down to 4. Rigor Mortis looking a lot more threatening. Draw another card off the gold.
And that's yet another ally. That's not what he wants to see at this point.
These are coming together in awkward sequencing for our Pro Tour Los Angeles champion, desperately fighting to stay alive in this tournament.
And you have to wonder, remember that turn 0 when Nathaniel was trying to fish for allies in Arthur Trehey's hand, but there were none to be seen. Here is where they are. At turn 4 is where Arthur Trehey is starting to find a multiple ally hand. Can he get himself out of this? He does have the life lead here. Is also able to present lethal to at least force at least 1 card from Nathaniel's side. Is that going to be enough, though?
4 life for Nathaniel. Facing down a Pro Tour champion. Another gold drawn. Arthur Trehey at 9. Both players at 10 and 2.
And that's an Eye of Ophidia drawn. That's quite a few
no
blocks.
gold.
No
The
more
eye
gold.
does
Give
not
Porter
look
is
great
the
here.
only blue in this hand that he can play to start
This looks so
playing
much better
ally
if we
from
just
his
didn't
graveyard.
block.
Does he have anything other than the Rigor Mortis? Does he have another Swabby? I'm not entirely sure. I think he has a Chum.
Yeah, I think there's a Chum at least. Yeah, it's the Chum.
It's a Chum and the Rigor Mortis. We can play out the Chum.
Playing the Chum here just for the body and the block.
With this Eye of Ophidia, though, can at least maybe bottom some no blocks if he finds them. He's definitely going to need some blocking cards, but
Sunken Treasure and a Chum.
He wants to get rid of the
Like,
Chum.
surely if we were willing to
gold, Sam, when he has
do
no more
the
gold,
let's
he
go
won't have a way
gambling
to
with gold,
loot away the no
we
blocks
should have done
that
that
he
on the
draws.
conk turn,
It's
right?
going to be a tough decision for him. Does he want to get rid of the Chum right now so that he doesn't brick on too many no blocks on the following turn? He's also in a little bit of a bind here with this Chum being deployed over here. It means that he can't deploy Rigor Mortis and attack with it as well. So it seems the only attack coming from him is going to be just 4. If Nathaniel wants to, he could just block with Blood Splattered Vest and go down to 1 and come back
Still
at Arthur
loot the
Trehey with
hold,
a
right?
full 5-card grip with Master Momentum still online.
Let's see how Nathaniel is going to try to face down this Chum. Arthur has to really give this hand a think.
I just wonder, do you just play the Sawbones from hand as well? Because at this point, if you don't, you're going to be stuck with at least 1 non-block on the following turn with no gold to get rid of it.
Play the Sawbones from hand. That's also a little bit of prevention unless 3 damage goes right into it. Arsenal the Oyston, which might be Oyston's final watery grave, because I don't think that card's coming out of the arsenal anytime.
The attack of Chum isn't going to take holding on to a Sawbone. Gravy Bones, we've seen him do some really disgusting things before, but sometimes you run into these multiple ally hands. A block card as well with Sunken Treasure, no block in the form of Eye of Ophidia.
Just get the
Sawbones
Oyston up
resolve.
by
I
activating
think he's
Chum.
thinking whether he just wants to activate Chum to get rid of the Oyston in his hand so he isn't forced to
Makes
arsenal it.
sense. No reason to arsenal it.
No more action point remaining for Arthur Trehey, so the Chum activation, that's what he's currently thinking about. Pass.
It's just like not even that much of a
going to
gamble. Like
Arsenal.
you play the
2
conk,
allies resolved for Arthur Trehey, but no offense mounted on this turn.
and then you just draw off
all.
gold.
Can Nathaniel do
'Cause you have
something
2
with the space that
floating.
he's been given? Looks like Arthur
He's
Trehey chose to
keeping
keep the
it in
Oyston.
hand. And you heard Nathaniel say ally for the Chum. As the 3 damage is going to come out here and take care of the Sawbones. We're going to see some most likely activations here.
So this is
Why does
interesting.
no
It
one
almost
do
feels like
this?
Nathaniel might want to send attacks
Why
at the
does
Chum
no one
anyway to
ever
get the master
activate
momentum.
the
So on
Sawbones?
Nathaniel's side, do you try and force
They
the
haven't gotten
activation to make
punished
Arthur at
for
least
it yet,
discard
but
extra card?
like,
Throw dagger as well. Looks pretty interesting. Looks like that might be the play ponkage. As the kunai's just coming out for 1. No, pointing it right at Chum. 4 damage on Chum. Excuse me, 4 life remaining on Chum.
And he's passing on the Blood Splattered Vest triggers, so doesn't need any further resources.
4.
Cut through. Gonna clear the Chum. Gonna draw a card.
And now Arthur just keeps a no block in his hand for nothing. Now it's just sitting there, getting ready to waste away. Oyston might have the heart of gold, but here, not sure he's going to have enough of the rest of him to keep Arthur alive.
My heart stopped for a moment when the Ravenous Rival hit the combat chain before the reveal happened. I think we've seen some blues in Nathaniel's deck. We also see a yellow with the Salt Wound. That sometimes a flip of a blue or a yellow at the wrong time can be the difference between a loss and a victory with the life totals this tight.
Was there a defensive piece that Arthur was trying to find in the arsenal? Lock with the Sunken Treasure before any resolution of a Flick Knives to try to get rid of a kunai.
Which will at least, he just bottoms, turns face down, a yellow golden tipple to bring him back to 1 gold. So now he can actually loot away the Oyster that's in his hand, since he can activate Gravy Bones to get rid of that card.
So, opponent says declare attacks, target Sawbones. I have a response. I would like to activate Sawbones. I have 1 floating prevention. Do you have any reactions? Because there's a reaction window there where you could flick. So I'm trying, and the Flick Knives doesn't specify like what your it has to flick the thing you're targeting. It says target like any hero. I forget the exact wording of it. We looked at it earlier. So by you activating Sawbones there, it means that he can't flick on that chain link to whatever the fuck this chest is called to make $1. Like maybe he needs that to happen. So we activate there so that way he doesn't have that choice.
Another card being drawn here, though, as the throw dagger is thrown across the table. Down to 8 goes Arthur Tahei. This time he's going to
Same idea versus Arachne. We had that come up earlier where it could have come up. Like, he opened with Stealth Attack into Sawbones, and what if the card that he was trying to play next was the thing that re-equips a dagger, or equips the one from like your sideboard or whatever? Well, he would have wanted to flick on that chain link.
All the blood spatter vest getting full.
Unless I'm grossly misunderstanding and you can't flick
and we've got a big
on an
on
ally
this turn.
attack.
Here comes the display loyalty. The mass momentum has triggered
But
so many times this game. This is why players are bringing
cards,
Syndra, folks,
that
is to
doesn't seem
farm
to be
the
the
allies and do
case.
so much damage to Gravy Bones through the allies. Farm the mass momentum triggers, get so many cards. I've seen Nathaniel draw, I want to say, like 9 cards this game in these action phases as the display
Ability 13. These should be at 7, which means that the Art of Dragon Fire that Nathaniel is holding for that the Art of Dragon Fire can present. But if you use Gravy Bones' ability to discard a Fiddler's Green, then you aren't using it to discard the Oyster. Nice coming in. Arthur Tahei taking full 4 damage, going all the way down to 3. Fealty going to be used for the Art of Dragon Fire.
As the Art of the Dragon Fire comes down and begins to rain brimstone across the arena.
I believe
Fang
you can
might have
even
the
do it
brimstone in the
during
name, but
the
I am
attack
feeling as though
step.
Syndra is the true master of Draconic Flame. 5 damage, 2 damage over the top
You
as the dragon
basically
roars and
not
heeds. Syndra's
literally
called down to
during
1.
reactions.
Goes Arthur Tahei,
Don't
and how this
do
5
it
damage
there.
must be dealt with, and it is going
I
to be
guess
a really
actually,
tricky
now
question
that I
for
think
Arthur.
about it, you could just literally do it in reactions, right? Like you know, I don't have to. You know, maybe I redact all that, because if they do the thing, then I just go, okay, I'll activate the Sawbones. So it just like doesn't matter. Yeah, maybe it just doesn't matter. Maybe I'm overthinking it.
To answer if he can even stay alive.
And this 2 damage is effectively uninteractable. You cannot block this damage. You can prevent it with something like a Sawbones. And that's a Fiddler's Green.
Yeah, I think I'm just overthinking
Arthur
it.
Tahei goes back up to 4 life, but that means he's still holding on to this Oyster and this no block. He did draw a Conqueror, however, so does have some blocking ability. Question is, will he be able to do anything impressive on his turn to get out of this hole?
Looks like this game just kind of slipped away though from him trying to block. Which is what I was talking about earlier. Like I just don't want to block in this matchup. It just always falls apart when you do that.
Blocked for 3. Looks like Arthur thinking, does he want to try to resolve this call to the grave? It looks like the answer is yes. Maybe the Oyster's gonna have to be pitched.
You could call to the grave, find any ally, resolve the Rigor Mortis, attack with it for 6, get at least 1 card from Nathaniel's hand. But with Arthur Tahei at 2 life and Nathaniel at 3 fealty, you have to wonder if he finds
just gives
another
you the
Art of
armor
Dragon
and plays
Fire.
the
That
4
could
card
actually
hand.
just spell the end of the game for Arthur
Probably
Tahei.
not. Probably gives you a
What is
card.
going to be the pick from this call to the grave? No more death threats available for Arthur Tahei. So the 2 resources in his hand with the Oyster is all he has to work with. No gold as well to speak of. Well, maybe
and Leverton's going to be able to come out as Arthur at 2 life, desperately
just holding on to it.
As we see the players here, Rigor Mortis going to be played, going to be able to be attacked with the hook.
And that gold could be very, very important. You saw how useful it was on the following turn thanks to Sunken Treasure. On the previous single card block, probably Mask Momentum going to be blocked with as well. You don't need that at this point when your opponent's at 2. They can't let anything hit thanks to Flick Knives. Arthur Tahei is at 2 on the life.
Kind of skipping through because I think I've seen everything that really is worth seeing here.
Mask Momentum is basically useless.
Nathaniel, did he
We kind of hit the decision point that like the game was kind of decided on.
Gravy Bones off of gold, but look at that hand ignite into blood runs. That'd be the only way. But he has no off gold for the exact. The 2 reaching down and putting a block. He simply has to block.
He's only playing 1, right?
Let a single point of damage through with the Flick Knife still on the field. Arthur Tahei is effectively at 1 life, is holding on to a no block in the form of the Charm as well. No gold to speak of on the field and no way to generate
We just like can't win this game
to
basically,
create another
right?
gold on demand. So that Charm is just a dead card in his hand right now.
We go to 1 this turn. There's no
No
universe
blocks,
that we
blood in the
present
water.
lethal this turn.
Get the top card, get the out of there. A little like shake of the head from Arthur. Didn't really matter what it was as the kunai comes down.
And this is a must
You
block.
have to give like
Otherwise,
3
flick
cards
knives on board just kills you as well.
and then he
So
just plays
try
any attack and
put
flicks it
something
next
in
turn.
front of this. And
That's
Blood
the
runs
only
deep.
way that
Blood
we
runs deep will come down and finish
can
off the
win
game.
is we get the Sawbones in play, I
Now the
guess.
sea legs has to come in. Lock out this measly little kunai, but Arthur is simply priced into it. The blood runs deep, is going to hit the combat chain. Arthur's going to see a 2 damage. He's going to flick across the table, and the fist bump is extended. You see the fist raised to the table.
All right, chat. That was some good learning. Unfortunately, most of these games are like ones that we already watched in top 8, but I don't feel like we learned too much from these ones today. Still great games. They just kind of affirmed assumptions that I already had about matchups. Probably Saturday or Sunday stream again, so stay tuned for that. Probably around the same time, maybe a little bit earlier because of the weekend. Anywho, thanks so much for watching. Have a great